Oh yeah, mic's on. Cool. Hey, how's it going? I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. What do we got going on here? Let's see. Did all my titles. Need to do the YouTube onto its own thing. I have so many windows open right now. There it is. So hit refresh on that. Let me pop up live stream, and then it's never muted when I start it up, and then I need to pop out the chat. Pop out chat. Sorry, I'm not turning away from you. What's up, Twitchy Microwave? How you doing? Pop out chat. There we go. Then I got YouTube chat going on. Close this, and I'm here. Yeah, it's been a crazy couple nights because Android APS, the auto pancreas system, which is programmed by one guy who's not, he's a programmer. I don't think he understands the nuances of how consumer diabetes treatment and medical treatment should be doing. And so at midnight on the 29th, the Android auto pancreas system application that I had that was an older version stopped working. And it didn't completely stop working, it just treated lows. But what it did is it stopped looping. It stopped looking at my glucose levels and changing management accordingly. And so I was up until 5 o'clock in the morning trying to get this thing running. At 5 o'clock, brain is not the same as normal brain. So Cluck, Jay, Chuck, John helped me on the Discord a little bit, and I found out a bunch of solutions on my own, and I finally got it working again. So I'm finally looping again, but there were some things that I forgot in between updates and stuff like that on how exactly my software operates. It's still not 100%. There's still some stuff that still needs to be done, but it's like a sudden change in management for a diabetic can mean death. So it's like, it's kind of insane that a programmer would think that in order to get everybody up to your latest version, you would lock off features of their organs. It's just insanity. It's completely insane. It's totally immoral. And it's programmer brain. Programmer brain going, oh, they can deal with it. I can deal with it. They can deal with it. Like, dude, no. Like, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm trying to figure out how to do this. I can see how your day is. That was the night before last. I got a good night's sleep last night. So, yeah, that's where we are. I'm not happy at this crap. Wait, I peaked? Why did I peak? I haven't even begun to peak. I got into the red there a little bit. I hope I'm not crackly on anybody else's audio feed. Maybe that was for me plugging in, because I can't see the peak right now, looking at my audio levels. God, that was so freaking stupid. Now that it's looping, everything seems to be okay. I'm doing pretty okay. Glucose level's a little high, but I think it'll take control of that. No clipping? Good to know. Thank you very much. Cool. Yeah, we're gonna look at burn the subs a little bit today. This thing that's been sitting behind me. But my last couple days were super stressful. Like, I was under the gun. It took me all of yesterday to get all of my equipment working again. And it's kind of important that my equipment works, because it keeps me alive. So, the dumbest. How are the cameras doing? Let's see. Faces, that looks okay. Looks good. It's not autofocusing. Nope. Burn the subs. That's looking good. Microscope. Hey, I think the newer versions of OBS have been preserving settings pretty nicely. Sometimes there's a little bit of trouble with the two cameras that I have are the same type of camera. I just inhaled a hair. I just inhaled a beard hair. A beard hair. Oh god, it's right near my fucking uvula. I'm gonna start choking. And you're like, alright. De-shed a little bit. Alright, there. Do we get them all? All the little hairs that your body's like ready to give up. Breathing in, there's another one. See, breathing in is a hazard. I'm gonna have to deal with this at some point soon. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to get to it. I have to do a blood test tomorrow, so I've been a good little boy the past 4 days. But blood test tomorrow, and then doctor's appointment a little bit, or Thursday next week. So I might not be able to be here Thursday. I think I won't be able to be here on Thursday of next week. So because of the doctor's appointment. But you know, all that stuff being out of the way, maybe I'll carve out a little bit of space for myself to get a haircut. I've fallen behind on uploads because over the past day I was supposed to get ahead of them, but instead I got the emergency all-nighter working on my diabetes stuff. So it works now, but there's still a couple things to be desired, and I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, we got to work on burning the subs a little bit today. I want to do a test of the water system. There's definitely a hair in my mouth somewhere. Test of the water system, and put the new radiator in, and maybe do a little bit of wiring if we have the chance. Wiring's a little boring. It's making a big wiring harness for everything, but I do need to resolve what pins I'm plugging everything into of the Raspberry Pi. Yeah, we'll get a little bit done with BTS. There's not, I don't know if we're going to make an incredible amount of progress, but I definitely need to get ahead of some other projects, though. I need to finish out the VCOs and stuff. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. What the hell's wrong with me is I haven't been sleeping lately, and then the whole diabetes thing kind of affected me pretty badly. But I'm here. I'm here for this. You know what? You guys handle stream. I'm actually gonna get out of here. Yeah, I don't need to be here technically. So you guys just handle stream. I'll be back, like, I don't know, Friday, whatever. I don't know. Nah, I'm here for this. I'm here for this. Yeah, everybody's got to say something. I bet you have projects like BTS that you haven't picked up again, but I'm picking up BTS again because I'm better than you. Objectively. What do we got for updates? Clibber, Index C, and Mahalo. I think I thanked them 4 days ago. I believe so. I can't believe we didn't get anywhere with that book, that stupid book. It's like the project was like fractal. There were other projects, like side projects, involved with the main project. Ridiculous. This thing, we have to do the we have to get all the digital stuff talking, and then we can build the analog stuff around it. Because that'll be good. That'll be good, that'll be good. And I'm not using an Arduino, I'm using an RP2040. So it's probably prudent for us to breadboard the whole thing. I'll probably have to throw the whole thing on a breadboard, which is, I mean, that's what Hajiwo did, but of course the new processor is a lot larger. But then I'll build it on perf board. I'm going to build 2 of them, one for Julie and one for myself. And in the meantime, work on the VCOs, try to get those done. The resistor ladder filter, or sorry, the diode ladder filter, I have not done yet. It's getting along. I have a couple more traces to connect. The Moog design. That one's just for me, though. That doesn't go out to anybody else. I never actually start the project. Man, you got to start the project. Yeah, we're doing BTS today. A little bit on that. Just to get the ball at least kind of shaking back and forth, and then eventually it'll start rolling. Things have, like, I started playing Fallout 4, and I realized that I'm living like that whole entire world is designed. There's just crap everywhere. So I need to start cleaning up a little bit too. At some point we'll do a spring cleaning episode where I can actually go through all the stuff on the shelf all the way over there and like clean stuff out. It's basically going to be garbage bin and reorganize. Those are the 2 options for everything that's back there on that shelf. You can see stuff is piling up a little bit. So I need to go through stuff and just kind of arrange things. See, it doesn't feel like a long time ago for me. I don't know. I just get a lot of criticism for not working on it, and it's like, dude, it's been a big thing. Oh, oh yeah, no, not radio waves. We did build that ultrasonic levitation thing, and that was pretty cool. What, never throw anything out, I'm guessing, is the golden rule of the wasteland. Ultrasonic levitation was really, really cool, and we put that together and we got it working, and I got no fanfare at all for it. and then somebody makes a GIF on Reddit of the little droplet of water floating, and they get 1 billion upvotes, and they make a whole career off of it. Like, son of a bitch. I have caffeine today. Oh yeah, from the show. Thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every single time. I mean, that's the way you're supposed to be playing Fallout. Is you don't like focus on the main quest. You don't even do the main quest. That's what's happening to me right now. I've gotten into the building part, and I'm insistent on building a trailer park and making it look exactly right. Well, less a trailer park and more of like a camper park, like a campsite park with campers. Because building an entire trailer is way too big. Like, it's too much stuff. But I've been building. The problem is the shape of Sanctuary doesn't exactly lend itself. That winding that the road does is great if you're like either have big houses or you have a lot of road doing the twisting, but it twists fairly sharply, and so I can't fit the vehicles sort of neatly along the road as you would like with a trailer park. I can get rid of the road. I have a mod that lets me scrap literally anything, but I want to keep that road. Yeah, accept every quest and finish none. I don't know if I can live my life like that. Let's burn the subs over here. Let me get the actual subject of today's stream over. I gotta get blood tested tomorrow, and then I'm free, and I can get my life back on track. I had a huge derailment over the past 2 days with Android Auto Pancreas system insisting on updating, and I didn't think anything was bad about letting it expire, right? So what it did, what the Auto Pancreas system did, is it put up an alert, and the alert was, hey, your version is going to expire. It's like, all right, cool, my version's going to expire, no big deal. And that's all it said. It said your version's going to expire on this date. Okay, cool. Well, guess what? Previous versions said your version's going to expire and stop looping at the end of the month. Well, I thought it was just the version was just going to expire. I mean, how could you take a medical care product and lock somebody out of a feature because the version expired? And there's some waffle bullshit about it. Oh, but updates are very important, and there's features that you might miss. And it's like, bro, what I have works, and I want to keep what I have working. And it's like this works for me. I don't want to suddenly have to deal with broken stuff, which I now have to deal with because it disabled functions, which is immoral. I don't know what this programmer is fucking smoking, but it's immoral. You're locking people out of their organs' functions because they haven't updated a feature is the most dystopian fucking shit I've ever heard of in my entire life. And that's what it did to me on midnight, and I didn't even get a warning about this. I got no warnings about it. I just got the warning that the version was going to expire, and that's it. It didn't say a single fucking thing about disabling one of the functions. It would have been nice to get a warning, but apparently people with the previous versions got, yeah, it's psychotic, it's fucking stupid. And this programmer apparently will not see the light of day on this. They will not see the light of God on this subject because they are just so fucking weird. Utter insanity. No. This isn't this is a person making the software with the help of a lot of other people, but the original software was concepted by this one guy. And it's open source programmer. But some people have spun off versions that don't do this, but you need to be in the communities of the people that know about this stuff in order to get that to work. So this is the person making the main part of the program, and while they are a very smart person, they're not very good at basically what I just described. Like, oh, everybody needs to get my version, so I'm going to make it not function because there might be bugs and errors that aren't fixed. But it's like, it's been working for me, so why would you force me to get the update? And then, of course, I go through the whole rigmarole of getting the update. There's a bunch of stuff I forgot about how it works. There's a bunch of, like growing pains, getting Android Studio to update. There was nothing that, like, explicitly on the update instructions that said, do not update the Grable. What's the Grable? I don't know. I don't know what a Grable is. I'm not an app programmer. What the fuck is a Grable? It's like, it sounds like Greeble. Is it like a rodent of unusual proportions? Is that what a Grable looks like? Because that's what where my head goes. My 1980s adult brain full of lead. I don't understand what the fuck a Greeble or a Gradle or Girdle. Is it a girdle? I googled girdles and then I got really distracted. But the Grable is a thing in like Android programming that does. I don't know. So no, you don't update that. How could you possibly? By the way, in my head when I looked at, oh, do you want to upgrade your Gradle, Greeble Grobble in Android Studio? I saw a devil and an angel on my shoulder, and the angel on my shoulder went, nobody updates their Grable. You're not supposed to update your Grable. And then the devil on my shoulder went, how could you not upgrade your Grable? What a stupid idiot. And I'm like, I don't know what a Grable is. I don't know what it is. What is it? It's part of the build tool sheet. Yeah, I fucking know now. But I could Google it. I didn't. Anyway, the point is, I saw, how could I not update? How could I not update my Gradle? Everybody updates the Gradle. Everybody fucking updates it. Gradle. Yeah. Well, okay, whatever. But I updated it, and that was a big mistake. And apparently, it was like pulling teeth to unupgrade the Gradle. It was 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't know what I was doing quite. It would have been nice if the upgrade instructions on the website actually told me not to do that explicitly when I booted up, like, because I booted up Android Studio. It's like, oh, get the latest Android Studio. Cool. Oh, get the latest Gradle. Okay, yeah, cool. That was a mistake. It was a big mistake. It was a big, irreversible, almost irreversible mistake. I eventually got it to compile. The part that I wasn't getting is my files on the computer updated to whatever version of the Gradle was the latest in their text. The text actually updated to replicate the version of the Gradle that I have on my computer, whereas from GitHub, the stuff coming in from GitHub had the old version, the proper version of the Gradle in there. So I needed to migrate the GitHub to my own files, which I thought I was doing by following the instructions. So, fucking hell. And then the other thing was, once I got the new version loaded up, the program forgot what accessories I had. And I had no idea how to get the new accessories registered to my program. Well, there's something called the configuration wizard. What does that sound like on an insulin pump? A configuration wizard. Does it sound like I'm configuring it to have certain external hardware components? No, that's not what that sounds like. That sounds like you want to reconfigure your insulin profile and what kind of insulin you're getting, right? So I didn't think to click that button forever. Yesterday, all of yesterday was spent going, how am I going to figure this out? And then clicking the button and actually solving it finally. It would have been about 10 minutes of programming if there were explicit instructions. And then you read help things online and you read what programmers have to say, and they say, oh, I just clicked on stuff and it finally worked, thanks. Like, nobody is specific about the things that they're doing. And I finally found something that was a little bit specific, and oh, okay, that's what that does. So then I click on the right thing. But oh man, what a day that was of just worrying about, because it's like my diabetes management was on autopilot. It worked perfectly, right? And then, I was focusing on me, like the stuff I could do to help the program run better. Instead of updating the program, I didn't want new features. I don't want new features. I want something that'll just work, and I wanted it to keep working. And then suddenly I'm propelled into parts of my external organ not functioning because I have not updated the software. Can somebody punch this programmer in the face? Like, thank you. Actually, thank you from the bottom of my heart for making the software, for making it work, right? But that part of it is absolutely fucking it's just evil. It's stupid and evil. It's malicious. What functions were removed? So the thing where the pump sees your glucose level and gives you insulin accordingly was disabled. So all of the little tiny little bits of insulin that it would give me in order to lower my glucose level wasn't happening. Now, it would suspend the pump if I went hypoglycemic, but it literally tore the main function, the main reason I'm using the software, out of itself. So it was constantly asking me to change the basal rates in order to regulate the glucose level. And so alert after alert was on the phone. And it like, how could you do that? I don't know. I like, do you look at yourself in the mirror and go, yeah, I made the right choice. I definitely made the right choice. And I'm not being a little baby and complaining. I'm talking about my health management here. I'm talking about my body. I'm talking about something that has dire consequences. Life dire consequences. I'm not overreacting about this. Fucking crazy, man. I would give this guy a piece of my mind if I could talk to him. Which is probably why he's a little bit eccentric and hides away. I don't know. No. That's not it. They wanted you to update stuff. They're not liable for anything. This is software that I made, I compiled, right? This is my software. It's just they programmed it. So it's all third-party stuff. They're not under the gun for anything. I'm gonna need water in order to do this, aren't I? I'm gonna get water ahead of time. I'll be right back. I'm gonna stop complaining for just 1 second. We don't have this up, and I don't have that'd be an overlays, so it's over here. Overlays, and then a BRB. Let's see, we can have you guys. Or I guess you could just look at burn the subs. Yeah, why not? All right. All right. Oh wait, overlays, BRB. Yeah. So anyway, I've had a messed up couple of days. I was up till 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Yeah, it was 6 a.m. on Sunday. Then Monday to today, I got a decent amount of sleep. So I'm still reeling off of that. It was a very stressful 2 days. Well, day and 3/4. No, no, that was a day, like a full 24 hours of stress. There we go. I eventually figured everything out, but it was kind of hellish for a bit. The upgrade instructions could have been a little bit more explicit. I think maybe they come up with these things as programmers and they don't realize that, like, we're not all programmers. You know, it's clear as day from me complaining at the moment, but in the process of figuring it all out, you're just lost. You're lost at sea. Getting AAPS together and getting it running wasn't so bad, but I am a bit of a programmer, a bit. I know how to compile stuff and things like that. I cannot imagine. I have people saying, like, I'm trying to get looping running for my grandmother, my poor dear old grandmother. I'm trying to get her on the looper program, and it's like, I don't know if it's for her if she can't figure any of this stuff out on her own, because it requires a little bit of that. I mean, you've got to take like a quiz on the functionality of the program in order to use it. And while you can bypass that, some people have made programs that bypass the training. It's good to be familiar with how to use this software, because it's not for the passive diabetic. It's you really have to be involved and know tech. Not entirely, but it boy howdy it helps. I can't even imagine my grandparents. I have a feeling this person's grandparents is a lot younger than mine, but mine would not be able to figure this out. They would not be able to use this system, even though it's a good system. But there are systems like it that are much more simplistic for diabetes management. This one just puts me completely at the steering wheel, which is what I wanted. What else has been going on? Oh my God, nothing. I've been playing Fallout and walking the dog. Those are the only other things that I've been doing lately. I never gave Fallout 4 a full chance. I had 100 hours into it, which is, I guess a decent amount. I did a lot of settlement building was the problem, and now I'm falling into that again. I've taken a no bullshit stance on the game, and I've been tearing through the stuff that I need to tear through, not letting it waste my time. But then at the same time, I also want to build some stuff, because there's something really fun about that. So I've been kind of falling back into that, and totally clearing out like Good Springs so that I can actually build some stuff there. And I'm building basically a trailer park, a hospital, and a brewery, and I'm like running out of stuff. So I'm having to go out into the world and pick up every single empty bottle in order to fund my need to make a hipster brew pub in the middle of town. I see a lot of builds that don't use the delete anything mod. I have a delete anything mod, so I'm able to get rid of the dilapidated houses. I don't have to work around those. I can build whatever I want. There was way too much settlement building in Fallout. Way too much. They should have given you like a couple little like small plots, maybe a place where you want to build a fence and a turret. But they gave you like 6 to 8, was it? How many was it? There were a ton. Way too many settlements. And it takes a lot of time out of your play. There's already a lot of game there. They just they put a lot of building mechanic in there too. But pretty fun though. Where's my Twitch window? What happened to that? What happened to the Twitch window? We are DT to go. There it is. And then there's YouTube and Twitch next to each other. Yeah, and the DLC. I've done a little bit of DLC. I haven't done a lot of it. I need to like activate it all, because I got the $9 copy, the $9 Game of the Year edition, the years ago Game of the Year, 8 years ago Game of the Year edition. Holy shit! Has it really been that long with Fallout 4? I can't believe it. I actually went back and watched all of the Rabaz Fallout 4 stuff, and what he's doing right now is a big boy power armor playthrough. But like, I miss his building stuff. The building stuff was amazing. What? Oh my God, 76 was really 5 years ago, and we're not going to see Fallout 5 until like 2030, because they had to make Starfield, which was like a lukewarm turkey sandwich without mayo. I don't know if maybe Microsoft will step in and be like, give another game studio Fallout, smack. One can hope, but who knows? Yeah, 9-year-old game. I'm having a great time with it, though, because I only gave it 100 hours, and most of it with... No, it wasn't expired. Starfield was bland, is the main criticism that I'm hearing. I didn't play Starfield. But I heard it was bland. And it looks bland from playing it. Building a spaceship seems pretty cool. People made a lot of really cool spaceships, but, like, were they really leaning on the build mechanic that much to make up for, like, the gameplay? Where you're basically just a courier going across nothing in order to get to nothing, and then bringing nothing back to somebody else in a big game of he said, she said? Well, tell them this. Bye. You go four to 8 loading screens away. But Fallout 4 has been a lot of fun. I think I still have that loading screen bug, and I haven't loaded the next gen update. I haven't done that because, I mean, you know, modders, right? Oh, new DLC's out, and it's like, don't touch it, don't touch it no matter what. Don't launch your game with Steam. Tell Steam to only update if you launch the game. And so I've had my old copy still working of just previous of the new gen update. And I see Rabaz playing it, and he's going, look at the parallax, look at all this, look at all that. It looks so good. And I'm like, I don't see any of this. Like, I feel like that looks exactly like my copy that doesn't have it. It's just settlement building, but movable. That doesn't sound very good. for 5 years that they had to develop that, that doesn't sound very good. I mean, everybody praises Fallout 4 on its like shooting mechanics, but I don't know. I'm lukewarm on that. I don't think I agree with everybody on that. For me, Fallout, it's a strategy game. I appreciated having it as a strategy game. You could sit there, you could think about what you're going to do, and then everything would go wrong. Whereas in this one, if you want to do VATS, it doesn't pause. So you can't think about what you're going to do, because while you're paused, you may have gotten them right before they shot you. They're in the process, and you're going, oh no, and the laser's getting closer and closer to your face. You're like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And you panic. I don't like that. I wanted to strategize what I do in a situation, but that's gone. That's gone. Everything's an action game now. The building mechanic, at least, I can sit down and go, and then the little pop-ups come up like, blah, 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 settlement is under attack. I'm like, fuck those guys. I need to figure out where to put this coffee cup. Like, that's how I play. Interactive chat is also an action game. I guess. Not really. At least I know how to react to people without VATS. Don't think about life as a game. Life is life. You're living it. Live it. Don't game it. That's where so many fucking gamers get a bad rap from. A little bit of dust in here. We haven't cleaned this out yet. This is something my brother built in like the 80s. Maybe the 70s. It was a long time ago. I don't think he built this when he was 5, so yeah, it was the 80s. It was for a clock. But, yeah, we're going to get to burn the subs today. Then I'm going to play Fallout. With the dog, I haven't had as much time to mess around in the game, but I've made a couple good sessions that have lasted a long time, and boy, home plate was disappointing. I don't remember home plate from the original game because I don't think I advanced any of those storylines as much. But when I finally got home plate, it's like this dilapidated interior space that looks like a storage closet and looks like it's been used as one, which most of Fallout looks like anyway. I have a mod that lets you delete anything though, so I can actually clean a space out. When I was done cleaning it out, it's just this like misty, dingy room that looks like there's zero airflow at all. It's a little hairy. You're like, this is supposed to be my house, like my home away from home. I just left it empty and just left. I'm working on building a Fallout 2 style sort of home base in Sanctuary, and then a brew pub, and then a trailer park out of the rest of Sanctuary. I know the movie theater's good because it's completely flat for you to build on, but I am financially ruined. I bought a new car. You mean like new, like off the lot? Like that's a mistake. Uh, I guess you don't have to deal with anybody else's bullshit if you buy a car new, but I don't think I'll ever be able to afford that. 2024 hybrid, damn. Well, that's not for me. I don't know. I feel like I need a seasoned car before all, because then if anything goes wrong, I can blame the other person that owned the car, right? The other people that own the car. Something goes wrong and go, man, that idiot that owned this car before me didn't put oil in it. Like, shit like that. I can just blame them, and I don't have to deal with the mental tasking of being wrong. Oh yeah, the show has done absolute fucking wonder. And I think Bethesda didn't anticipate it doing well. Because a lot of video game properties didn't do good for their games. Like, you know, The Witcher came out, and I think Witcher probably saw a little bit of an uptick. You know, things like that. Didn't really see a whole lot going on there. Whereas Fallout, everybody went, oh, I remember Fallout. Wait a second, I forgot to do a modded playthrough. And so everybody downloaded Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3 to a lesser extent. And they all started modding the ever-loving crap out of it. Because now you can go through Nexus mods and you have 10 years of mods, which is mind-boggling. It's actually mind-boggling that you have 10 fucking years of mods on the Nexus. What I did in my playthrough, now I would love to stream some of the playing of Fallout, because I could easily eat up 5 hours just building. The building mechanic has been owning me lately. What I did is I went in and I modded in, I have about 40 mods, so I'm not going to go through them all, but some of them are Fallout 2 guns. The Bozar and that gun, the Blade Runner gun, I have now in Fallout. I also put in the Chihuahua Rhino, because that's one that I own, which Rabaz has already explicitly stated is so stupid and cringe. And I'm like, yes, I am stupid and cringe. I put that gun in there because I own it. Which it's like a low-level gun in the game, so it's all balanced out and everything, right? The Bozar, I don't remember having a drum magazine, but apparently that's just whatever the Fallout 2 to Fallout 4 people put in, and then that gun looks perfect, no notes. They're all fairly balanced. They're all pretty well balanced within the game, so yeah, the Fallout popularity's been nice. I've been a fan of Fallout since 2. Not 1, not Tactics. Fallout 2 was introduced to me by a friend back in the day, and I put a lot of hours into it. A lot of hours into it. And then Fallout 3 came out, and I bought it, and I played it, and I was like, that was okay. I don't know if I like 3D. Fallout New Vegas came out, and I said, that was okay. I played it for a long time. It seems like there's some cool stuff here. And then I started to be exposed to media about Fallout New Vegas. And then, Fallout 4 came out, and I was like, wow, building stuff is really fun in this sort of world. But the game seems a little bit lacking. And then, of course, I started reading criticism, and I'm like, okay, New Vegas was brilliant. I missed the boat on that one. I did. I've fallen asleep to New Vegas more than any other game, because wandering around in the desert with the soundtrack going on was just like calming to me, and I just fell asleep. But I had a lot of fun playing New Vegas, for sure. But Fallout 4, the building mechanic really like destroyed me. I've put a lot of hours into just building stuff, as I do. I'm sure some people can understand that. But yeah, there's a big, and this is just what people are saying. This is just what critics are saying online, is that they missed a huge opportunity to release a new game around the TV show. But in my opinion, what I think happened is Bethesda did not expect the property to do so well. They helped a lot with the property, right? They helped a lot getting the I guess the feel of the world. I know Todd Howard was like visiting the set and stuff like that. So like they had their hand in it to make sure that they got it right. I hope, but you never know with these things, right? It's down to a big crew of people. It's sort of a seething, moving, living mass of tasks when you do like production. And so all of that coming together, who knows if it's going to work out or not? And they hit it like they did perfectly. They hit everything about Fallout perfectly. They had their 3 characters that seem to represent Fallout 3, New Vegas, and Fallout 4 really, really well. and they did a good job balancing sort of the humor of the world and stuff like that. Fallout 2 runs into a lot of criticism because it was too zany, but that's where I cut my teeth with the franchise, and I love that zaniness. So I loved the show. It was perfect. I don't think Bethesda had any idea that it would be so popular, and then they didn't have any properties lined up. They just have this sort of like Fallout 70, there's Fallout 4 update that doesn't do a lot. It doesn't do a lot. It was short, but everything is 8 episodes these days, and you're kind of gambling on whether or not it's good. If it sucked, 8 episodes would have been just fine. Like if it was a little bit too camp, or if they didn't get every single prop exactly right, if it was just like, or if they messed it up and they did like a Mandalorian with Fallout and everything was a little bit minimalistic and everybody was like, it kind of doesn't feel like Fallout. Like 8 episodes would have been great. And they could have just said, okay, we're done. We're done. But instead they got everything perfectly. So everybody's like, we want more. We want more of this. But you don't know with these things, right? You don't know. You could have a Witcher on your hands. Or a Game of Thrones Season 8. Yeah, and actually the same thing, you know, the reason that I'm so learned, worldly on this sort of subject is I'm a Star Trek fan. I'm not just a Star Trek fan, I'm kind of a rabid Star Trek fan. Like when Red Letter Media did their trivia episodes, I'm like, oh, I know that. I know that. I know that. I know that. And the reason I know that is just because I, like in my free time, whenever I need something on in the background, I'll put on Star Trek. And Star Trek is one of those franchises that started in the goddamn 60s. And every single thing about it has lore because they love doing callbacks. Well, it was easy at first to do callbacks, but now if you call back, some other series has already called that back. And so everything you do is bumping off of the walls in the insane asylum, and you don't want to mess up. And they've messed up a lot lately. They've tried to turn it into an action franchise. Their Strange New Worlds is okay, and Lower Decks I love, but I can see why it would be irritating to some people. But like other than that, because Lower Decks is just a love letter to the old series, but there's a lot of lore in Star Trek that you can very easily undo by trying to have an exciting plot. So the same thing goes with Fallout. We have had Fallout games since what, the early 90s? That's a long time, and that's a lot of games. And so you've got to stay within the bounds of those things, and it's tough to do. Bethesda even like runs into that stuff all the time. People go, how dare you? And you saw the rabid New Vegas fans misinterpreting stuff at the end of the show because they wanted to be mad. I don't know. And we talked about this before, but it's like, it seems like they just want to be mad. They just want to be mad about stuff. And so 76 fans have gotten a bad rap for being a little bit too rabid. They tout about how utterly superior 76 is compared to the other games. And, you know, there's a little bit more love into it, but that was like an 18-month game. Like, they didn't spend a lot of time on that game. And it was very buggy at first. Yeah, and that's the thing. There were a lot of reactionaries that got very mad at the Fallout series ahead of time. Woman protagonist in my Fallout? It's like, bro, have you ever fucking played Fallout before? Like, do you have any media literacy at all? And the answer's no. The answer's always fucking no with these idiots. I think I should drain this system before we start, but yeah, we should definitely get started. Let's get started. After griping about media literacy and the evilness of programmers. Like, can you believe that a feature of my organ, my external organ that runs via my cell phone, the little computer that I keep in my pocket, talks to my insulin pump, which uses a piece of memory wire that it heats up and cools down? Well, it heats up one side, then it heats up the other, and that pivots a little piece of metal that advances a gear that pushes insulin into my body. And it is a complete system where you slap it on yourself, it injects the tube under your skin, and then it functions nearly autonomously if I want it to, as an insulin pump. It also uses a sensor that I have on my shoulder that reads glucose tech. Or I read tech on the screen and I said tech. My filters suck. But anyway, it reads my glucose level by a bimetallic wire under the skin, figures out what that glucose level is, reports it to my phone. My phone says, ooh, I should give this much insulin based on all of this previous data that I have. and then it tells that to my pump. That runs almost autonomously. But the programs that I'm using are third-party. The program on the phone is a third-party program. It's a third-party program. So it had been telling me that an update was ready. And you should know that in the past, previous versions would say, hey, an update is needed at this date or else looping will be disabled. And that's the system that feeds back the glucose levels and gives insulin accordingly. It says, well, I'm going to disable looping if you don't update me. I didn't know this. So I get a warning that says, your version will expire at this date. I'm like, wow, it's really adamant about this. And I'm like, you know what? This system works for me. I do not need to upgrade. It's the same logic behind OBS, right? OBS, the broadcast software that I'm using. Well, OBS will put out updates and it'll break stuff. It'll break stuff with the updates. So it's like, I should be cautious about this. I'll wait it out a little bit. I'll see what happens. No, you can't. Apparently you can. And this is another one of those things where the smug programmer goes, oh, ha, 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 how could you not know that it would disable looping? I intentionally made it disable looping so that you would get the update. And it's like, that's fucking immoral and evil. Like, this is my organ we're talking about. You're disabling features on a thing that every single person in the world has, except for diabetics. And I've happened to claw my way back to it using your software. And you're going to disable part of that because I haven't updated to your latest version that might break stuff? What is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? How do they not see this from the lens of somebody like me, right? How do they not see that? It's like the weirdest fucking thing in the world. Apparently the person who makes my auto pancreas system software, it's not just one person, but apparently one person is like made most of it. And apparently they're a bit of a weirdo. So yeah, it's your pancreas session is about to, please enter credit card number to continue like processing glucose. DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis, is a process by which the high glucose levels cause acid to form in the blood, and it is one of the most I've had it happen twice, 3 times. It is one of the most painful things I've ever experienced in my entire life. And you're going to tell me that your software is going to do that to me? It's going to let that happen to me if I don't update it to the latest version. Oh, there's a Monty Python sketch similar to this. It's in whichever one was the recompilation of skits. No, was it Life of Brian? It might have been Life of Brian. No, it wasn't Life of Brian. It was one of the other ones. It's the one I keep forgetting about. Anyway, the guy's collecting the organ. It's a very visceral sketch, and it kind of scared me as a little kid. Yeah, so they disabled this feature, and so I was thrust into having to update something in Android Studio at 3 a.m. last night, and I was working on it until, no, not last night, night before last. 3 a.m. night before last, and I was working on it until 6 a.m. And there's a guide on how to do it. They didn't explicitly tell me not to update the Grable. Look, you're like, what bother? What's a Gradle? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't actually know. I have no idea. The point is, it was something that wanted to update because Android Studio updated to the latest version. They said, you have to have the latest version of Android Studio to do it. Okay, cool. Okay, update Android Studio. Then Android Studio is like, hey man, you want the latest Grable too? I'm like, the fuck is, what's a Grable? What? Huh? Wait, what? Huh? Okay, fine. Yeah, update it. Because I saw a programmer on each shoulder, and one of them said, you don't update your Grable? How stupid, you dumb noob. And then the other one went, how could you update your Grable? What a dumb thing to do. And I'm like, I don't know which one I'm supposed to, I guess I'll update it, right? Because I'm updating Android Studio anyway. Well, it turns out that was the absolute wrong thing to do. You've made your last great mistake, dumb user. You've updated the Grable. How dare you? Well, apparently downgrading the Grable is like pulling teeth. Apparently you can go up to like the properties of the program of the project and tell it to only use a certain one, but then it edited the text because when the text was pulled in from GitHub in Android Studio, it changed the Grable version for you, which is not a great thing to do. And so I had to migrate from the GitHub version, the text that said to use the old Grable label, the girdle. I mean, I was wearing a girdle at the time, but the Grable, I don't fucking know. Relying on Android build chain working to avoid dying painfully. It wasn't dying painfully, but still, yeah, I mean, if my glucose levels shot upwards, it would ask me to change the amount of basal insulin rate that I got, and it wouldn't do anything else to correct it. Hey, Nate's are pretty okay. You're pretty okay too. Thank you for subbing. Gradle. What's the, what is that? 13 months, Nate's, thank you so much, 13 months. So yeah, apparently getting all this stuff running, it was ridiculous. The reason that I had to do Android Studio is because this software is not allowed to be distributed on like the App Store. And it's not allowed to be distributed for free because it's health related. It's health related. So I thought that they would have a little bit more reverence for expired versions. No, the dev is a fucking psycho. That's all I can, there's nothing else to it. The dev is a fucking psycho. If they say, hey, the looping function, we're turning that off. You can't have that until you update your software because there might be errors in it. And it's like, dude, I've had this software for like a year, 2 years. There aren't errors in it. I can tell you that much. It was working just fine for me. But apparently I'm not able to make that distinction. I have to upgrade. Otherwise, you know, your liver has been disabled until a software update's able to be performed. And you're like, what? I'm drinking. Wait, what? Like, dies. Fucking psycho behavior from these devs. They don't think in any other perspective than their own. But yeah, so I was up until 6 o'clock in the morning trying to update that thing. Didn't work. I eventually said, fine, I'll die. And I went to bed. And so I woke up and I spent all of yesterday doing that. And so I'm well behind on my uploads. We need to work on something that's not going to stress me out. I eventually got everything working, migrating the text over to the thing that apparently kept, like, when you load the program in from GitHub, it changed stuff, and then it yells at you for having stuff that's different. So I was like, all right, I'll change it here. And so that fixed it. And so I made it, and then I put it onto my phone, and then certain stuff wasn't talking to itself because I forgot that something called the configuration wizard was not a insulin rate configuration. It was a accessory configuration. So when I finally figured that out, I've got it mostly working again. There's a couple things that aren't being communicated that I need to kind of sort out, but we'll come back. I'll do that on my own, right? Programming argument might be that old updates can have exploits that could potentially put your life at risk. But nobody's trying to exploit my diabetes. And so if everything's working, why would you do that? I think the only argument that could be made is that as the phone software moves ahead, you move the pump software ahead so that it doesn't have features that aren't supported anymore. That's the only thing I could really think of. But I haven't upgraded phones, so it's fucking ridiculous. I'm so mad right now. I really want to sit this developer down in a room and hash it out with them. They don't speak English though, so I can't because I'm not worldly enough to know other languages. My argument is more on the side of like if the phone's OS doesn't support certain ways of handling programming anymore. How hard is a phone program to, I mean, I know phones are complicated, they're little tiny computers, but like as an embedded systems developer, this is ridiculous. This 45-minute compile time for a phone program where you're pushing buttons, like why is that so complicated? Why do we need this much code to run it? It's utterly bonkers. I don't understand. App development is out of control, man. How much spaghetti code are we required for things to run so that they can run kind of okay on super modern processors? We have all of this processing ability and we're not lightening up our program at all. Oops, all libraries. Yeah, exactly. You're like, import this, import that, import this, import that. Oh, it made the program for me. That could force you to buy a new phone if the software is on a higher version than your supports. I mean, what Android does is it updates to a certain degree and then you just have your version from then on. I don't know about software exploits and stuff, but like this stuff is it's fucking insane. I just can't believe that a developer would seriously in their right mind consider disabling functions of organs. Like in like 20 years when we have robot arms, are they just going to disable my robot arm? Am I just going to like drop something that I'm holding? Oh shit, I got to update. Hold on. Let me get in Wi-Fi. Please drink verification can. Let us burn the subs. I'm going to drain this out, and then we're going to put a new radiator in it. We're working on burn the subs, and if you don't know, burn the subs, this thing right here, is my wall-mounted laser etching table. It sits above where all this stuff is. This is just here for synthesizer mode. I should pick the camera up and let you guys see everything else. All modern languages are kind of that way. I'm an embedded systems developer. I keep things simple. I use libraries sparingly compared to how these kids are doing it nowadays. Here's Burn the Subs. And what this is a giant board that I've mounted to my wall. I gotta lean over to get to this. And it has an XY, oh, that's gonna crash. It has an X and a Y axis, and it is designed to move a laser across the board in order to burn the names of subscribers to this channel. Pretty cool, right? This has been all greased up and configured and put together. I'm thinking of a couple little fundamental changes in the way the drag chain works. We might do it from up top. That way everything kind of sits with gravity nicely. But this thing worked for many, many years on this channel. From 2017, 2018, 2019. Oh my God, it was so long ago that Fallout was relevant. So this has been burning the names of people who subscribe to my channel for many, many years. And we filled 2 boards with names, thousands of names. The second board held 6,000 names. And my channel was actually popular back then. Anyway, so since then I've been bleeding off users, and we haven't really been working on this very much. I did a bunch of Fusion 360 sessions, and we've built little brackets and stuff like that to sort of rebuild this and put it together in a particular way. But the upcoming changes are of a control panel nature and a software nature. So I want to turn this over to having nice motor drivers that can use bump stops instead of switches. And then we've got a laser cart that's all put together. We're going to have a water-cooled laser, which isn't that crazy of a thing. It's actually a thing that's fairly common in this kind of stuff, is water cooling your laser. And then we want to have everything just kind of put together nicely. So we've been taking our time, and we've been working on this thing sparingly between things to try to keep myself from actually burning out on it. Oh, if you notice back there, there's a Lancia body for the RC car, and below that Lancia body is a Brother ink tank printer. That is an ink tank printer. So you were able to actually load tanks full of ink into it instead of buying cartridges. And since it's Brother, it's not going to totally screw me over and require me to get all this weird software in order to run it. What I'd like to do is take the paper feed out of that, all of the paper feed out of it, and trick it with a microcontroller. So we're going to work on that in the near future. What that means is that I'll be able to print out front panels for synthesizer stuff in full color. And what you do is you do a UV ink tank. So I don't know if I need to drain the ink tanks that I have or maybe buy empty ones and then fill it with ultraviolet ink that is activated with UV light. So I'm gonna have to, that ink tank is kept inside of the printer. So I'm gonna have to be very careful about when you open it up. But then when it prints, it'll go through the normal print head and there will be a UV LED shining down on it. And so that'll set the ultraviolet ink. Can't wait to buy Neuralink is injecting ads directly into my psyche. Yeah, but then you can sign up to opt out of ads and get limited ads. They'll turn that eventually into limited ads so that they still can sell advertisement money as well as extracting money from you. I fucking hate this new software everything environment where they are constantly trying to one-up themselves on profits, and they're loading it onto the consumer in ways that we didn't really expect. It happens with all kinds of things. You usurp an existing service by offering a much better quality of life, and then you slowly erode away all of that quality of life until it resembles what you usurped. So it's like cable TV. We were all watching... Actually, at first, cable TV wasn't supposed to have ads, but they put ads on cable TV. So you're paying for cable TV, and you still get ads. Somehow people were fine with this. And then you had streaming services where you pay to not have ads. But now streaming services are starting to trickle in ads. What's next? Neuralink? We're going to pay to have a neurological link, and then they're going to put ads in it? Okay, so anyway, let's get the water out of this because we're going to put more water back in. I'm going to get the new radiator in here. I bought this Alpha Cool radiator that's only one single thing. I gotta root my brain. Rooting your brain used to mean something else. These damn kids. Here, I'm gonna get a big container for the liquid. If my insulin pump starts having ads, I'm gonna throw a shit fit. I'm gonna throw a shit fit. So we gotta get this top piece off. Let me get my big wrench. Where'd my big wrench go? There it is. So I ran into the same problem that all the Fallouts have. I found the best gun, and now there's no other choice for what gun to use. I always have to instigate special rules on myself in a Fallout playthrough, and I don't know if a lot of people do that these days, to be honest. Making special rules for your character that cannot be violated in the playthrough because of a particular role-playing choice that you're making at the time. What's that? Hold on, I'll read that in a sec. Oh. How's the size of the names decided on the previous BTS incarnation? We had an equation, Mesh Twitch. Sorry, I thought it was Mahalo, it's Mesh Twitch. We had an algorithmic way to determine the size of the name, and it was decided based on how many names were already on the board. Names got smaller and smaller as more names were on the board. So as time went on, the names got tinier and tinier, and they were able to fill up all that interstitial space in between things on the board. And so we had a nice little representation of how many names are there. The kneecapper 10mm, just shoot at the legs. I got a minigun that is apparently the version of that. It's like a limb-crippling minigun. But no, my current love affair is with the hunting rifle. I got a hunting rifle that improves VATS targeting percentages, and I made a charismatic luck build. So I was hoping that the charismatic luck build would give me a lot of cool new role-playing choices. I was completely wrong about that. The game is not structured the same way as all the other Fallouts are, where you can talk your way out of almost anything. There are a couple choice places where you can do charisma, but charisma is mostly useless in these games now, which is really disappointing from a role player's perspective. But the luck build gives me amazing critical hits. So I've gone with pistols and stuff with critical hits, and actually that's manifest in the hunting rifle for some reason. It's really effectively made me able to get headshots. So I'm basically just popping heads off left and right. It's like if I don't kill them in one hit, I'm dead. Because I'm also not doing armor. I've decided to dress fashionably. Oh, there's a radium hunting rifle from Far Harbor. I haven't done any of the DLC yet. I did a little bit with the robotics. Nice glass of coolant. I have had coolant before. I accidentally drunk a glass that was sitting on my desk because I didn't have anywhere else to put it, so I put it in a glass, and I was like, man, I'm thirsty. I took a sip. It tasted like pure ass plastic. It was like drinking liquid petroleum. Parts bin was in the wrong place. Gotta stay hydrated. It was disgusting. All right, so let's see here. So I want to do a test, but I want to do a test with the radiator. I want to install the new radiator. I don't want to get water everywhere. So what I'm going to do is jump to the back. I'm going to use a couple forceps. These silicone tubes are really great, but what's even better is having a bunch of forceps. Forceps are used in surgery to hold on to stuff, and boy howdy do they hold on to stuff. Like, this hurts. You can't, this thing will pinch down to these locks on the back. They hurt. Like, they're super pinchy. It helps because that helps me pinch off the artery. I can pinch off the water from this thing, and that'll minimize the amount of spilling that happens. So this is held up by the bolts in the fan. So I undo the fan, and the radiator should follow. There's no other attachment on this thing. And it'll do a little bit less of this boing, boing, boing. It'll do a little bit less of that because it'll be less of a moment arm on it. But the guns that I've been running around with in Fallout are actually from Fallout 2. Those are the ones that I've been using mainly. Because they're awesome. I'm going to get a T-handle. A T-handle for that. They were the ones that I would go way out of my way in order to get in the original anyway. Oh, and I also put in that HK G11 into the game. That was in Fallout 2. I have not run into it yet. I don't know where to get the gun itself. I've run into the ammo a little bit. But these mods have been poured over for 10 years. And so they're pretty balanced. I mean, adding guns and stuff, like if you add real guns to Fallout, it seems like everybody wants to play like Butt Palace 5000 instead of Fallout. They want to mod in all the big titties and stuff and make everybody look like they're in an anime, which I don't really agree with. You know, Fallout has a particular look to it, and if you're modeling in like buxom redhead number 5, it does not fit with the game. It looks terrible. It's very cringy if somebody happens to boot up your game, but it's just not sort of in the spirit of things. Like, if you mod in the guns, they need to be guns that look like Fallout stuff. And I'm kind of violating that principle by pulling in those Fallout 2 guns, because they're not in that world. There's a, you know, Todd Howard specifically did not modify those guns into the world. But I don't know. But there's a lot of those mods. It's crazy. You might be looking at the wrong mod page. Open up Nexus and click on Fallout 4 and tell me the first thing you see isn't a gigantic pair of tartars. Tell me that. Well, at least for the past 5 days it's been that. I think maybe those have fallen to page 2, but some weird fucker has been modding in his own like OC. And his own OC is like Super Buxom Lady 5000. See? And degenerate perverts, a lot of them. But I mean, I guess that's what you're supposed to expect from modding Fallout. My favorite mod moment was when I tried out the Oblivion titty mods, and I installed the Oblivion titty mod and the weird running animation that makes you do a very girly run. And I uninstalled all the mods not because I was appalled, but because it ran its course. I'm like, well, that was interesting, but I'm done with titty mods for now. And so I uninstalled them and did not uninstall the skeletal animation for that running. Here we go. This is a 17mm socket. The skeletal running animation I did not uninstall. So I went back to my playthrough with my glass cannon wizard, and I ran into a bunch of spiders, and I said, oh no, these are out-leveling me. I'd better run away. And as I run away, I start mincing away, and I was like, this is too good. I must keep this. I must preserve this. It was amazing. Is that rust? Looks like paint. Oop, wrong camera. There's a mod that turns Piper into a wolf. It's just my art style, bro. Bro, that's just my art style. That's just, why are you looking at me like that? That's just my art style. What is that stuff? What is this? It's disgusting. Is it part of the radiator? Have you done this? It might just be the radiator's like paint. Huh. Strange. I worry about corrosion since we water cooled my PC and I messed up putting copper in the presence of aluminum. It's a high crime and misdemeanor. Have I done any funny mods? What are the funny mods that I've done? I don't think I've done many funny mods. I've done mods to shut up followers, and I don't think that one works. There's a Power Armor Naruto runs in third person. That's a good one to get. And then the Taylor Swift Pip-Boy would be a good one too. What's going on with this? Why isn't this screwing in? Try the other one. There we go. All right. Get these situated in here. I guess I used my open-ended wrenches when I did this last. Looks like this one might have a damaged thread. I do have another one of these fittings. Let me go grab the other one of these fittings. I feel bad about sending everybody to Sanctuary. I set up Sanctuary as a trailer park, but not like a trailer park with like trailer homes. It's more like a camper park. So what I'm doing is I'm putting that bus down on slats, on foundation slats, because sometimes the bus won't place properly and you need to put like floor sections in order to get the bus to like place. So I've made everybody a pad, and then I've put the buses on the pads. Sanctuary is not a very flat location, so all the pads are like sticking up in weird ways. But one of the things that I've done is each of the homes that I'm building, this is all like corroded on the inside. Each of the homes are like specially designed, right? And so one of them, I put workout equipment in. So it's just 2 weightlifting benches. Each one gets a bunk bed, and then one of them is 2 weightlifting benches and nothing else except a little drinks dispenser. And apparently everybody interpreted that as being the bar. So all my followers that I've stuck in Sanctuary, all of my residents were all trying to get into the bro weight trailer to pump iron. So I've actually had to take a bunch of time to build a hipster-style brew pub. We have Victory brew pub is like just around here, and so I'm making it a little bit like Victory. They're all just meatheads. Well, that explains why no raider's been able to really like harm anybody. I'm not high enough level to get institute kidnappings yet, so. All right, let's see here. You guys come over here like this. All right, so the radiator's here. It's a stinky little doodad. It's not bad. We'll see what kind of cooling this thing's able to do. So in order to install it, strips right in here. Since AlphaCool, by the way, AlphaCool has all of their radiators in CAD. I got an email about being in a creators program for Fusion 360. As long as I upload a video per month that has to do with modeling in 360, I could be in their little creators club. And I don't think I want to sign up for it. I don't think I actually want to sign up for it because the educational copy is all I need. And if I get a special version from the creators club, it means I can't talk to you guys about how one would use the free software. Like if my version is, oh wait, I got to put the fan on too. If my version is too featureful, then I can't relate to you guys using the free version. So I think I'm going to opt out of that. I hate to just not reply to an email like that, but I don't know. If in the future I need to do that, I will. But it's because I've been doing those daily uploads of all of our old streams, so it seems like I'm super prolific in working on stuff. Like, wow, this guy's every day. This guy's putting in 5 hours without fail. Now, hopefully in the future, I can boast... Wait, this might be too far. Hold on a sec. How far in is this going to stick? Here, my concern here is that this bolt is going to hit the... Now, there's a little blocking pad, right? This radiator has a little... It's like a section. See how that's like a... It's like a box section. And so the screws will hit up against that first. But I want to make sure that they don't hit up against this at all. How much space is there going to be there? Yeah, see, it's like a lot with this bolt. Yeah, it's not really an upgrade. If I was using the free version and they offered me like a creator version as somebody that posts stuff, like, yeah, I would totally go for that. But I also don't want to explicitly like rat myself out. I won't let them know. I don't want to let them know what version I have. They might not consider what I'm doing educational. I do. And I filled out other stuff honestly, so I guess they do. I can't see a goddamn thing. I can't see what I'm doing. I'm getting the same view you guys are getting. That does not hit... It seems like it doesn't hit the fin, so I guess I'm going to just trust it. You guys want to check that your bolts don't stick through too far? Because everyone's shit stinks. You just want to make sure yours isn't the stinkiest. Isn't that how that saying goes? Make sure you don't have the stinkiest shit. You only have to have less stinky shit than your friend to avoid bears. I think that's how that works. I'll just assume it does, and anybody correcting me is an idiot. I do need a better way to do the trailers, though, in my setup. I should probably make, instead of doing trailers, I should probably make them small houses. To be honest, I think in 2x5, I can probably make a better house out of the panels and stuff. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll try that tonight. Just get a big sack of whiskey and try to do the whole... No, actually, I haven't been drinking for like a week. I got a big blood test for my endocrinologist, so I've been sober. Dude. Look at that. That looks beautiful. Let's get that last one in. Oh, it's a good thing too, because man, if I wasn't, I might not have known that they disable your fucking looping function when the software expires on my insulin pump software. I thought they were immune to that sort of craziness, right? Should I be running a washer on these? I think I probably should be running a washer on those, because it's going to kind of bore its way through the plastic if I don't do that. I have washers. Those aren't the right thing. I have another kit of washers around here somewhere. I think it's down here. It's either down here or in the screw bin. To do mechanical things again. Yeah, we'll turn this off for now. I'll turn that back on later. To do what just fell? Oh, my whole mic pack fell off my belt. To do mechanical things again. It's nice. Okay, so... Oh, and I finally got that stupid, that stupid cable in the wall. I now have a Cat 8 cable going from my router to the other router. And then I have a Cat 8, Cat 7 cable behind the desk. And then it goes to a Cat 7 keyway adapter, and then a Cat 6 cable to the router. So now, all of that shielding has helped me get nearly full speeds to the router that's away. We got an upgrade on our internet stuff, and I made sure I was the sole beneficiary. Basically, every single house, every single computer in the house can run 100 speeds, and our speeds are 1,000. So everybody can use the internet to its fullest at all times. Except if I decide that I need all that bandwidth, which I don't. I don't think I have any use. Oh, mic crackling? Okay, hold on. Test. That should be better. That looks a little better. Yeah, I'm not peeking now. Okay. Sometimes the crackling happens when this collides with my shirt, or it's something with the plug going weird. What up, Ace? All right, so let's get some washers in this so I don't crush the plastic out. One of the big. Hey, Miguel Oz, how's it going? Wait, were you here earlier? Maybe not. One of the big things that washers do is spread out the load. Share the load, Mr. Frodo. They spread the load out. And the thing is, with these fans, I may not be able to use a washer because of that little bump right there. That little bump right there is well, I may not be able to use a washer. Because that little bump right there prevents this from sliding in. Let's just see if I can get away with it. I don't appear to be biting in. So I think maybe my question from before is already answered. The washer prevents me from screwing in the bolt because it's pushing it out to the side. Because of that little... I don't know. Noctua, you guys are great, but some of your decisions, like this little bump right here, not great. I could try to find longer bolts and go from all the way out here, but if I want to put like a grating on the outside of this to keep it from being an exposed fan, although exposed fans are fine, we've got an aesthetic here, and that kind of works with it. I've already been through this rigmarole, it's just we haven't worked on Burn the Subs in a little bit, so I don't remember. I do not remember all of the trials and tribulations that we had before. All right, that's on there. Now we just recombobulate the discombobulator. Yeah, I'm interested to see what kind of new stuff is in Fallout, but I can't do the update until all the mods are updated, except that some of the mods that I have are old mods. The one that isn't working is instead of having the cows, the Brahmin, do the supply routes, they would have a little iBot that would do the supply routes so that you don't have giant cows clogging up your settlement. But what I'm getting into right now with this latest playthrough, I've only got like 50 hours in it or something, less than that. What I'm doing is I'm still getting to the point where I can do supply routes and stuff like that. There's a lot of game in this game. This 10-year-old Fallout game is quite complicated and depthful. I guess it is a AAA. I haven't played a lot of AAAs lately, so I don't really know what they're like. I don't really know what they're like, especially given that it is an actual single-player game. Okay, so the next piece on the docket is that we got to fill this thing up. Now that I've got this all together, I probably also need to make a 12-volt distribution thing because I want to run the laser, I want to run the fan, and I want to run the water cooling system all at once. Because we've had a couple months of the UV epoxy sitting inside of this thing. I want to make sure that this thing does not leak under pressure and under load and under heat. I want to test it all out. Everything. So I need my laser on this. And all this stuff is 12 volts. Everything here is 12 volts so far. The motor controller is going to be 24, but we have a multi-amp 12-volt regulator that will keep all of the rest of the stuff running. So this is the TTL laser board. This thing takes a 5-volt pulsed signal. It can also, I think, take 3 volts. I think it's compatible with that as well. So this will take a 3-volt pulsed signal in order to turn on and off our laser, and it is a constant current driver. So it'll keep the laser nice and happy. As far as targets go, what do I have? Like anodized aluminum is probably a decent material for a target. Straight up silvery, what do you call it? Metal is a bad idea. Silvery metal will reflect the beam, and since this is a blue laser, the beam is going to have a large component of ultraviolet light to it, and I do not want that large component of ultraviolet light to reflect around the shop. So I need to find a matte metal target. I think I have like some metal. Oh no, those are painted. Something anodized probably. I mean, it's going to absorb a lot of heat for sure, but if it just captures the beam, that'll be okay. All right, we'll just do a piece of 2020 rail. I'll put that in a vise. Actually, before we'd use my heatsink, we could use that. The heatsink that I use for soldering stuff, it's an old, probably chipset heatsink from some piece of equipment from a long time ago. It had a flat fan on it, but that'll be a good target. We could do that. Ooh, put that thing back. Put this back. All right, so power supply. Oh, we need, how am I gonna get water in there? I need this big syringe. I don't want to put that cloudy stuff in. Let me drain the cloudy thing. We'll just drain this into the glass, and then I'll use this. This is a much more civilized way to distribute liquids. It doesn't get water everywhere. The cloudy liquid is completely settled, by the way, and the other, that looks like a nice glass of translucent milk. Ugh. 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 Delicious. Boy, could I go for a mug of that? Right? Okay, that's enough of that. Why did I buy that stuff? Yes, skim milk. Ugh. Why did I buy that stuff? It's disgusting. It's all settled inside of the other water cooling system, by the way. It looks clear again. I don't know why it looks clear again. I don't know where that stuff is settling out. Probably in the radiators somewhere. And I'll bet if the cooling system ups its ante a little bit and like turns up the heat on the amount of flow, it'll probably kick that stuff up again. I have to like hold my breath while, oh, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. I have to like hold my breath while filling this thing. The plastic transmits heat. Use it as a lens. This is just tap water. We don't deserve fancy liquids here. I've been having a grand time, though, playing Fallout 4, the old version, not the updated one. I know there's some cool stuff that's been added with the new version, but it'll break all my mods, so I have not used it yet. And then where's my power for the pump? That's this here. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill it up, pulse the pump, fill it up, pulse the pump. Basically, we're just trying to work any of the bubbles out of the rest of the things. So let me turn my power supply on. Actually, we'll use this one. And get some leads here. I guess I'm going to use the sloppy leads because the synthesizer stuff has taken up my other power leads. I don't like these leads, but I guess they'll do. By the way, when you're building a power supply, always plan on this spacing right here, because these dual banana plugs you got to cater for. So always make the spacing cater to the dual banana leads. Yeah. So this is on. It's at 12 volts. Turn the power fully on. We've got 12 volts going out, and now I can start filling with this awkward, stupid filling thing. That's making a lot of bubbles. Bouvelles. We can give you guys a better view of that. Come on, bubbles. There we go. Six-hour print ruined because support refused to come off in a good way. Oh. What's your interface? What are you doing? It's like with PETG, all kinds of stuff like that can go wrong. And it took me a long time to figure out exactly what I was doing. I did 10-hour prints of the RC car body. PLA, I don't know a lot about PLA. I have no notes. Now there's a giant bubble in that radiator, but because this water cooling system is particularly designed, well, we can wait for a couple bubbles to come out there. The places that it pools are here. It'd be nice if I had a bleed screw above this, or if I could flip this over. If I reverse these two completely, then maybe I would achieve my goals here. But reversing them means that I wouldn't be able to... Hold on, I'm thinking. Yeah, this wouldn't be as clean. This right here is why I haven't reversed them. If these two were reversed, then the outlet of that pump would be facing upwards, and it would at least be able to expel some of the air in it. But as it is right now, it's unable to do that. But you can see that those little droopy bloopy bubbles got rid of a lot of air. So super fast profile. Yeah, I guess with PLA slowing things down helps. Or if you have a lot of fans, and I don't have a lot of fan on my printer, but I use PETG. PETG loves the heat. Bring the heat, bring the noise. Every single problem I've ever solved, I've done it with heat. And everybody's like, why don't you need to do this and that, you need to put more fan on it, and then you're not doing it right, streamer. You need to level your bed. And I'm like, no, turn up the heat. And then Chad music starts playing. Not enough heat. That solved everything with PETG, but I assume other filaments don't get away with that. All right, I'm going to tilt this thing so that this bubble goes away. Oh, those transparent PETGs are lovely. They're really fun. I love using mine. There's so many cool things that you can do with 3D prints and transparent PETG. All right, so a lot of the bubbles probably out. We can probably blast away a few. I'm gonna top this off because a lot of bubbles might show up when we start running it. Now the one that's in the impeller right now, that one bubble at the very top right there, that guy right there, that one's gonna get decimated. It's gonna become fuzz, and it might end up either in the top of the radiator or in some geometry that's not exactly perfect. PETG is amazingly strong. That's what I love about it. That's why we use it in brackets and engineering stuff. Now I could get away with PLA in a lot of places, but just the utter brute strength of the PETG is insane. All right, so let's get 12 volts onto the pump. Now see if I can get the fan running with all this other stuff too, but using clip leads is going to be very annoying. These kinds of clip leads are very, very annoying. The alligators are a little bit more civilized. They actually hold on to what they hold on to. These you have to keep bending them, and they're technically, these are supposed to be bent down in. They're supposed to be like a little loop, and they're not. Ugh, I can't really do this right now, so we're just gonna leave it. So running the pump. Minus and plus. One. Get that, separate them a little bit. Try not to be terrible. Oh yeah, see that water line go down? Whew. Okay, start it over again. Give it time to settle out. Start it over. Still bubbles coming from right here. All right, so now we're on watch. We're seeing whether or not water shows up down by the laser or anywhere around here. Give it a little tilt. Yeah, there's like foam because of that bubble that ended up in the impeller. This isn't helping either. This is basically just injecting bubbles. It seems like maybe I should be taking the inlet from over here, and this would be just a place for bubbles to kind of pool around. And then over here with the inlet like here, the bubbles would pool around and the water would make its way up and around. That kind of seems to be what's going on. I don't know if I don't really want to reconfigure it right now, to be honest. And then I could reverse these two and have this up top, which means that even though this goes down to everything else, it would still, I don't know, help. get bubbles away. What's up, Capitalists? Yeah, we're working the water cooling system a little bit. I need to do a test after it's sat for a while. My concern was that the UV epoxy, you know, the stuff that they seal nails with, like nails, like hand nails, would like break off and leak. Hey, Big Pixels, 11 months. When did that happen? Hey, Big Pixels, thank you so much. I hear that guy's got big pixels, man. So we'll be able to see heat going through the system soon. I want to get all these bubbles out. Let's do a little like tilting around. Oh yeah, there was something there. Forwards and backwards. Shake it. Shake it like a baby. Shake it like a baby. Water cooling is extremely effective because water holds on to a lot of heat. Is it necessary? Probably no. No, not at all. Air cooling is probably fine for this entire setup, but I decided to put my best foot forward because I've got a lot of leftover water cooling stuff from ideas that never came to fruition. And it's fun. It's fun. I like doing this. This is a lot of fun to me. But it's a lot of trouble. If you're trying to just like get something done, water cooling is not a way to get it done. Water cooling is a way to obsess over something. Like why she left. Yeah. Huh, this would actually do really well if it was side mounted. Probably should have used this one on the other computer. All right. That's pretty good. I think I got most of the bubbles out. We should be using most of this thing. Really? There's more every time. Every single thing I do. It's like flicking a syringe. Every time I hit this, I see more bubbles coming out of here. This one right here is why I'm harassing this thing. You ready? Watch. Oh, really? Did I get them all? Nope, there's a couple. You can see them. They're coming down through there every now and then. It is a closed system, but apparently these closed systems that I've been building, every now and then I have to go in and actually add more water. I don't know why. Maybe it's just it's chaos theory, or something's evaporating, or something drips, or I don't know. Maybe it pulls it in from the outside world. All right, I think we're good on that. See, whenever there's a bubble, what it does is it prevents the radiator from cooling water. It prevents water from flowing over something. No, it's not daily. It's like every couple months, or like every couple weeks, I'll look at the reservoir and be like, oh, there's a big bubble there. All right, turn this off. So we'll saturate it with heat first, and then we'll run it with a fan. I'll need to get clip leads in order to run the fan. But to do this, I've got this hookup right here, and this thing takes in 12 volts. So, and it's all tuned up for a constant current control. We will have a nice blue laser with water flowing through it. The blue laser had a heat sink last time, and it was just a laptop heat sink that's stuck up vertically. Now, that vertical heat sink did plenty to cool that laser. It's just fine the way it was. But I've decided to water cool it because I can, because I have experience with this sort of thing. And I'm willing to put in the labor to get it water cooled, right? It evaporates through the tubing, even through silicon? I mean, I suspected that, but I didn't know it for like a fact. Really? That's crazy. So yeah, the tube will just bleed out molecules of water to the point where eventually you go, oh, it's not enough. I guess the rest of the water gets saltier and saltier as time goes on. And then you need to do a water change. There's our laser, nice and bright. Nice little point source of heat. And we watch as it saturates in heat slowly. I mean, if I run it without the fan, you guys would see it get warm pretty quickly. Where is it? It's right here. Is there still corrosion? No. I've got mostly brass. It's brass and copper and nickel on this system. So there is not much corrosion. There might be a tiny, tiny bit over a long period of time, but there really shouldn't be any considerable corrosion in the system. Aluminum is a much more reactive metal, and it's typically what they have on these water cooling things. So getting a nickel plating kit is probably going to help me if I ever do the power supply project more. That blue laser is heating up the heatsink. It is 1.4, no, it's 2 watts of blue light focused on a sub-millimeter point. So it is heating up that heatsink. It is transferring energy to the radiator. Never plated aluminum, but I heard it's difficult. Nickel plating is dead easy though. I don't know if you need to do like, maybe you need to do a copper on the aluminum and then you can nickel the aluminum. It's probably how you have to do it. So is the fan necessary? No. The driver board is heating up more than anything else. I guess maybe I could have another stop on the water cooling and have it hit the driver board as well. That's not that hot. That's really not hot at all. It is warmer than ambient, but it's not really hot. We can't even see the tubing yet. Like the tubing isn't showing up on the thing. The tip of the laser is, but yeah, that's just not displaying much. That don't impress me much. Ah! Oh my God! Ah! It's Nuka-Cola! Jeez. Good God, it's fucking crazy. Let's get this back over here. It's not even warm to the touch. It's like barely even above ambient temperature. The reason I'm going with a matte thing is that it's not kicking out a lot of that UV. It is a little bit. You can see it heating up the desk surface a little bit. Not heating up. You can see it shining onto the desk surface. I do have laser goggles. That's all it takes. You just have to have them in your possession. Could also do this to try to... Ow! Burnt my finger. That smoke was skin. Owie. It also hit that over there too. And it burnt the desk thing here. I'm going to do this way so it doesn't kick it towards my eyes. There we go. Nice and civilized. A step needed for plating aluminum will you first dip it in tinning solution that plates it with zinc, which can then be plated. Huh. Man, that was a very focused little burn, huh? Yeah, this laser's very angry. It's a very angry laser. There was definitely skin smoke in the air. Probably tastes like, smells like pork rinds. Yeah, we're doing a bit with the laser. I wanted to saturate this whole thing with heat, but it doesn't appear to be saturating all that much. In the past, the pump has saturated the thing with heat. You can see a bunch of heat coming off of the radiator too. Turn on a match. No, you burn matches. You burn a match. You don't turn it on. There's no switch on a match. So we're just letting heat saturate the system. I can see the burn. There's a little dark spot. My hands are super dry. I'm not going to put them on the microscope. Why are they super dry? What's going on with me? Huh. What's that glucose level doing? It is not on the screen. Oh, it's coming back down. Every day you learn something new. Well, like if you said turn on the match, you'd be turning on like a wrestling match or a game of some kind. But if you take a big poop, you want to light a match. Let that sulfur cover over your shame. Yeah, it's just running. It's just running and getting warmer and warmer and warmer. Slowly. There's enough water here that no matter what I do with the laser, it shouldn't saturate. What we're really looking for is to see if this leaks at all. And it doesn't look like it is. I'm not seeing any water anywhere around it. It's dry. So the ultraviolet epoxy in this application is probably decent. Any other application, I don't think ultraviolet epoxy would be a good idea. Just because there's potential for it to like flake off and break. Because I don't think it's really bonded to the PETG. What's mainly probably holding it are the ridges of the PETG. And although I can't really observe it, I don't think there's rust inside of there. Because it's nickel plated. Hopefully it's well enough nickel plated that it doesn't start to... Yeah, this thing would be an ant destroyer. Actually, at this wattage level, yes. At lower wattage levels, it just annoys bugs. I was like, yeah, this thing can melt plastic. Eat that, bug. And the bug was like, no, I'm out of here. Bug was like, nah, that's not my scene. So... Well, I don't even feel compelled to turn the fan on at this point because everything appears to be going just fine. My heatsink is heating up with all of the energy that's hitting it. The board, the controller board, is at ambient temperature. Not even hot to the touch. I mean, it's a little bit warm under the drivers, but it's not that bad. I have a burn on my finger now. Point source burn. One nerve cell of my finger just got fucking obliterated by blue light. Laser burns are pretty bad though because it's just singed skin, so it's like a burn. So it does feel like I held my finger over a flame, even though just tiny little brush with the laser. There was this whole thing in the makers community about when I stopped writing for Hackaday, where they were doing CNC lasers in order to give yourself a burn tattoo. I cannot imagine that felt good. It's like those people with branding where they not like branding like my brand, not like, you know, makers community kind of branding. I mean like branding like you would do with cattle, where they would heat up a piece of metal with a pattern on it and hit it up against your skin. But the problem is they did it as this machismo thing. So they heat up this brand to glowing hot and they just press it on the person for like 45 seconds, which is a huge, that's like subcutaneous burns. You're cooking somebody's meat, and that's no bueno. That's a very bad thing to do. You're supposed to just singe the outside of the skin. What's up, Yano Cat? We're doing stuff with lasers. With lasers. I want to saturate this thing with heat, and then I want to turn on the fan and cool it off. Let's find leads while I'm doing this. I can find a pair of leads. This is just proving out the survivability of the system that I came up with. That's how you do the real engineering, kids. Yeah, you're basically cooking somebody. They got to do it as some kind of machismo. They want a big burn scar brand on their chest, and really the way you do that is by going, psst, and that's it. Like, you can really ruin somebody by holding it up that long. And I've seen multiples of this against my will because you know, the internet. this thing's really working well. It seems like when you follow the steps and do everything appropriately, things come together nicely. Laser's staying nice and cool. Our target is heating up. No more than ambient, I believe. This thing is making tapping noises. The little pinwheel makes little tapping noises as it runs. This is probably why people don't like running them in their water cooling system. Apparently EKWB is fucking imploding right now, and I didn't know about this. Never meet your heroes, chat. Never meet your heroes. Apparently EKWB isn't paying people, and they're having all kinds of issues right now. Now, I don't know. I don't have any verification of any of this stuff. I literally just, it's he say, she say, he said, she said. Somebody just told me on the internet that something was happening on the internet, but apparently EKWB is in a bunch of trouble. Which is sad, because I really like them. There's a Gamers Nexus video. Yeah, that guy's been assassinating people lately. It's like he saw an H-bomber video and decided that he would do that too. Which, you know, all the more power to Gamers Nexus. He's calling fools out. I thought your main supplier was Alpha Cool. I dabble between the two. You know, radiators from Alpha Cool, everything else is EKWB, although I bought these a long time ago. I bought some modern EKWB stuff, but apparently it's very expensive for what it is. The Chinese suppliers make the same exact product these days. All I want in the implosion of EKWB is to be able to get a hold of their 3090, the designer cooler. The designer 3090 cooler. Sorry, 6900 XT cooler. That's 3090. What's wrong with me? It's the 6900 XT limited edition anodized black aluminum cooler. I would like to have at a discount, but I doubt. Marquise Brownlee has been calling out lazy tech. Good. Wendell from LV1 Techs and Steve from Gamers Nexus are the most terrifying. Yeah, they are. Because they do all the research, because they're actual nerds. They're actual nerds that care. Nothing is more frightening than a nerd that cares, for varying reasons. Oh, lazy tech grifts, I see. Hey, it just meant lazy tech, because there's a lot of that too. There's outright scammy companies right now. Igor Labs and JZ2 Cents spoke out as being scammed by EKWB. Damn. Those are not people that you idly scam. Imagine the chutzpah on these people for scamming like a tech channel, where like you're basically like giving them content. Like, hey, you wanna make your channel much larger? I'm gonna do something shady to you. $130,000 of sponsor money. What the fuck? It's like the last thing. That's the last thing I'd want to scam. Holy shit. Yeah, somebody with a huge audience and a loud mouth. You're just shooting yourself in the foot there. You're not like, okay, let's say the streamer does the shady thing, right? Well, then you're in luck. Why is it hot right here? Is that heat? What's going on? What is it? It's just where my hand was. Look where my hand was. Letting the days go by. Yeah, scamming a tech company with an audience, like if the tech company scams you, they can bounce back, right? But if you scam the tech company, we've seen places die. We've seen places die. We've seen, what was it? Artisan Builds got murked by being shady. Not good business practices, for sure, for sure. I didn't get the clip. These clips are so annoying. Maybe that'll stick. I don't know. You subscribe to this channel and you don't know what this is supposed to be? I guess I haven't worked on this thing enough, huh? The U.S. Chief of Operations is literally just friends of the founder. She's no actual experience or skill to be there. Oh, Jesus. You don't necessarily have to have skill in water cooling to run a water cooling business. You could just know business. It sucks when that happens. I love how the Saudis are calling for the next Boeing president, CEO, whatever, to actually be an engineer. They're like, he needs to be an engineer. Yeah, you think? Maybe a little bit. Or at least just have a little bit of the mindset. So what this is burn the subs. And burn the subs is a control panel. What's up, Sticky Songs? How you doing? What this is a control panel for my wall. My wall is full of ants. No, it's full of an XY laser etching table. That's what that is. And it's designed to burn the names of subscribers onto itself. Obviously, it doesn't do that yet. We have a bit of work to do. I've had 2 other versions of this thing working before. This one is our best foot forward. We're doing all kinds of cool stuff in order to make sure this thing runs properly. And one of the things we're doing is water cooling the laser. The laser is, as is before, controlled by a TTL laser driver board that's been tuned to the specific amount of current that this LED uses. This LED laser, this diode laser. Diodes want a particular amount, LEDs specifically want a particular amount of current running through them. They don't care as much about voltage. So this thing will jump around in voltages in order to keep the current going through this thing stable. What that does is it runs the laser at a consistent power so that we can send a pulse width modulated signal into this board, and it will dim the laser appropriately so that when we go on a straightaway, we can have full power, but when we go around a corner and it slows down a little bit, we can back off of the power of the laser a little bit and make a nice consistent burn on my wood. Why is it water cooled? Well, why are you water cooled? You dumb. It's water cooled because we can. I have all this stuff for it. I've been scheming on water cooling my computer for like 5 years, and I used to water cool back in the early 2000s. It is very fun. It's a lot of hullabaloo. It's a lot of bullshit to go through. It was a lot more effective back when we were overclocking our computers. Computers are not as overclockable anymore. They've kind of characterized the silicon in tests at the factory, and so you don't get as much out of overclocking anymore. Air cooling a computer is fine. I do it for the fun, for the memes. So given that I have a bunch of water cooling stuff collecting dust, lasers, diode lasers in particular, create a lot of heat right in their immediate vicinity. Typically you would air cool that, and previously we had a laptop cooler strapped up against this thing. So just for the fun, I have now tubes running all the way to the laser, and so we are running water across the jacket. Part of this test is to make sure that this thing don't leak. So we're getting this up to temperature so that everything expands, all the different materials expand at their different rates microscopically, and we can make sure that that doesn't create leaks. This has been sitting for months. So as sitting for months is also part of the plan. It's also part of the tests that we're doing. I have this whole system plumbed up. I have a pump that's running full tilt, which I guess it'll run in the future. We can control the rate of the pump if we want to, but right now we are forcing as much water as possible around this laser while it's lasing, creating heat. That heat is being bled off by the system. We're starting to be able to see the heat bleed through the silicon tubes. Once that's all saturated, I want to turn on the fan through this new, smaller radiator and see how well it cools. I think it'll be perfectly fine, though. Considering this has been running for like 10 minutes now, and it hasn't really saturated. Top brass at EKWB claiming the EK way to not pay overtime or follow safety standards. What the fuck? I want to be able to get a CNC and just make my own. I don't have a CNC. Maybe in the future, not necessarily the far-flung future, but like in the future, maybe I can computer control this thing a little bit. I do have parts where I could make a CNC. I could also build up a CNC. Maybe I'll have to get the right kind of collet so I can run the little bits. And we can get that running. But before that, I have this thing. Well, yeah, burn the subs. But the thing that I have is on the right there. You can see on the right, underneath a Lancia body, is an ink tank printer. And with ink tank printers, you can fill the tanks with ultraviolet activated ink. So I can have a dot matrix printer, not dot matrix, it's not dot matrix. I can have a inkjet printer that runs off of a tank. Tank printers are the way to go, by the way, because Well, actually, to be honest, these cartridges that the brother one has, I see contacts on them, so I don't know if I need to buy, like, new chips. We had EK. We're a family in this business. Call CPS. Want to build a deuterium extractor, but I can only build a deuterium extractor when I turn it on. Then the hydrogen O2 and deuterium oxide, I think D2O. Is it heavy water? No, that's not. We'll leave at gas, so my deuterium will be gone. Need a filter. But I don't know how to get one. I don't know if you should be fucking around with the deuterium on a hobby level, to be honest. Just like Uwo's lab should not be fucking around with ultra high voltage. But apparently, like me, he has had access to a giant box of capacitors in his lifetime. I'm waiting for the inevitable, I'm sorry to my subscribers for my serious bodily injury post. Toner printers have been the way to go. Yeah, I had a brother printer back in the early 2000s, and Windows XP did not support the drivers for it, so I had to drop it. But that was one where I could buy the powder and dump the powder into the cartridge and just keep reusing it. There was a line down the middle where something had clogged, or like one of the heaters went bad, but those powder ones were amazing. Oh look, it's the future dead guy, Uwo's lab. Using electrolysis to extract deuterium gas from heavy water is the economical choice for homemade fusion reactors. Yeah, I've seen those homemade fusion reactors where like a 10-year-old kid puts together a bunch of neodymium magnets and makes this freaking awesome looking chamber. I've thought about that and whether or not I want to try doing stuff like that, but damn. Also, Uwo, what are you doing with so many giant capacitors? What is your problem? I don't know where my giant capacitor went. I used to have access to like tri-walls full of caps like that from research stuff. What was that? Oh, damn it. What is that thing called again? Oh, no, wait, you've already built one of those. Never mind. The DC ladder step-up converter. I bought these on Craigslist for $100 like 5 years ago. Jesus Christ. What we're doing right now is we are testing the laser cooling system because I sealed this 3D print because I didn't do what that one guy on YouTube did and turn the PETG print to be really, really gloopy. Instead, what I did is I just printed it out with very small layers, and then I put ultraviolet epoxy inside of here and swished it about, right? Cockcroft Walton, that's right, that cocksucker Walton. I mean, no, Cockcraft, god damn it, I can't even say the name regularly, it's just my name, my mouth defaults. So anyway, we've got ultraviolet epoxy inside of this thing, and this laser's in just a normal nickel laser holder, and I actually burnt myself with a laser. It hurts. This thing is running off of this board over here, which is a TTL board. So when all is said and done, our software up here will be able to tell this thing to back off on the laser as it goes around turns and stuff. This one is a 2-watt blue laser. I don't need more than 2 watts. You can see what this thing is doing to this heatsink over here. Our previous laser was 1.4 watts, and I backed off on the current a little bit just to be nice to it. And for the memes, we are water cooling it. So this is burn the subs. This is supposed to run this thing, and it's supposed to be the mainstay of the channel. This is the laser that burns the names of subscribers onto itself. I saw Lunatic Live the other day, had a stream where he was burning the names of subscribers with his little CNC laser thing, which is pretty cool. Does it have a big emergency stop button? No, although it probably should, and I've got emergency stops that I can put on there. Just because I'm getting a tan doesn't mean that you get to put 40,000 volts through your heart, all right? So yeah, Burn the Subs has been a long-standing project, and if I can show it, hold on. If I can show it without doxing everything I know and love. Oh, you guys get to see how much of a slob I am. All right, that's fine. Seeing how much of a slob I am is fine. But these are the 2 previous boards, these 2 right here, and a really, really good hot sauce. Really good hot sauce. But these are the previous boards and my vacuum tube audio amp and Rabaz. But anyway, these are the 2 previous boards. This one has 1,000 something. This one has 6,000 something names on it. And that should actually be next to my desk instead of behind it, I've discovered, because the monitors block everything. So that was the previous version of Burn the Subs. And the previous version of Burn the Subs did not use as much 3D printing as we're using. So the upgrades include cut off little hose lines here so that I can unplug the laser. The laser's now water cooled, so we're gonna have to run this through all of the drag chain all the way back to the controller. We have a Vicor 24 volt power supply that uses flat pack power supplies. And I found this in storage. You can see it's actually being heated up by the water flowing through it. I found this in storage, and I don't think I've ever tested it, and it's from eBay. So just like Uo, I'm ordering random shit from eBay just because it's super cheap for industrial stuff. You have to water cool a 2-watt laser? No, I don't. No, I definitely don't. I know, you get drunk and you go on eBay at like 4 o'clock in the morning and you end up with something like this. Like, it's bad. It's bad. But anyway, Twisted Sister, viewer Twisted Sister, sent me this miniature, this BTT SKR Mini. So this is for a 3D printer. We've got 2 extra axes, which is kind of the amount that we would need to run an auto camera. But we're not going to run an auto camera at first. It's a lot of work. So we've got this thing that'll run off of 24 volts and control our laser, and we'll try to find laser etching software for it. That's all going to be run via Clipper by Raspberry Pi 3, by Raspberry Pi 3P Plus, which is also water cooled. This has a copper bar, a copper tube soldered to the back of it. So we're running water through this. That's why it's showing up on the thermals. Right now, that laser is heating up every component on this thing. So these water blocks from a Raspberry Pi, this thing is water cooled. The power supply has 2 copper tubes running against it. No, I poked myself with the header. I'm looking at your view right now. I'm seeing what you guys are seeing when I point to stuff. So when I point at things, I have no parallax. I don't have 3D depth perception. So when I point at it, I'm like poking it by accident really, really hard and hurting myself. So Raspberry Pi 3B Plus has such a good ground plane that it actually doesn't really need the heatsink at all. But if I just put this on the processor, this whole thing will reach about the same temperature. It's pretty crazy. And then up here we have the water cooling system that I got a smaller radiator for. So I got the little radiator, got the Noctua fan, I have an EKWB pump and an EKWB reservoir. Don't buy EKWB anymore. Apparently they turned into turbo assholes. We were talking about that before. Where'd you get the VFD? Noritake e-tron. Noritake e-tron. Blah, blah, blah. I don't have any of those running anymore, do I? I can't show you. I have a beer tap. Here, I can go grab that, actually. I can go unscrew it from the beer fridge. This thing's been sitting here for a while, but we did this many, many, many years ago, before even the VODs started uploading. I made this beer tap handle. Oh my God, this whole thing is loose. I need to clean this off. There's like mega mold on it. We made this beer tap for my what's called Fermentrack. Fermentrack is a system that uses a Raspberry Pi to control. Oh yeah, we should actually shout out Uo's lab. Did anybody do that yet? No, nobody's around. Yeah, the whole water cooling thing is it's an addiction. Did my message I wrote before showed, or is it bugged? Looks like it's there. Some problems with YouTube sometimes. Well, for us, it's if your message isn't showing up in YouTube chat, but this is Social Stream Ninja, and it's picking up on everything. I've got all the windows open right now. Yeah, so this is a beer tap that we made and designed in Fusion 360. I printed it with wooden-looking filament, and then this isn't attached very well. I need to glue that or something. But what this does is this shows the Fermentrack status. And Fermentrack can actually work as, what do you call it? This can work as a refrigerator. So it'll show the fridge temp and everything. And then when you actually, yeah, the wood filament turned out nice. It's a PLA, but what Fermentrack can do is if I brew something, I can drop a thermometer into the carboy and it'll keep the fridge at exactly the right temperature so that the yeast has its best life cycle. I haven't brewed in a little while, so I haven't had use for this and it's just been hanging out. It also misreports the ambient temperature because this VFD, it's way too hot. But VFDs are beautiful and brilliant, and Flatulent Gonad just did a lot of stuff with VFDs. He had ChatGPT programming VFT code that could read chat. So he would have ChatGPT able to print stuff out. And he got that running so well that he broke all of his VFDs in a fit of rage. I guess he was having troubles with it at one point. But the ChatGPT did get these things to run. And so we actually did on a character VFD, not a character VFD, a picture VFD. I tried to make a picture of a corgi. All it did was make fuzz. That VOD hasn't come up yet. It'll come up soon. Then I'll be able to reference it. But so we're going to put a VFD on burn the subs so that I have a bit of a status message. I know how many names have burned and stuff like that. We have all the code for similar in the Raspberry Pi in Python. We're going to have to do Clipper. We're going to have to do some kind of an API into Clipper in order to get the names in there and stuff and all the processing and stuff. So it's going to turn into a software channel for a little while when we do that, when I get around to it. For now, I want to get all this hardware done. And so I'm testing I'm vetting out this part of the hardware so I don't have to worry about it. So what's going to happen is this is going to saturate, and then we'll turn on the fan and we'll figure out if it gets any cooler from there visually through the thermal imager, because I can't be bothered to do actual engineering and math. I really don't want to. I had, by the way, part of the reason we're doing this is that I'm completely spent. The night before last night, midnight, my insulin pump, because it's made by some insane, ridiculous brained, something is broken in the brain programmer. They're able to put together software that will run your diabetes for you, which is great. That's perfect. Love it, right? What is it cooling? The Raspberry Pi, the motor drivers, and the laser, and the power supply. 4 things. But yeah, apparently because the moon-brained programmer that put together the software that runs my looping insulin pump, looping meaning that it gets glucose levels from my Dexcom, it sends insulin instructions to my Omnipod insulin pump through my phone. That phone app is a third-party app, and it's programmed by somebody who just has like a tumor or something, so they have to be evil. Because what happened was, although the software was working perfectly for me, it said, hey, there's an update, and at the end of the month, 4/29 midnight, it's going to expire. And I go, it's going to expire? That's fine. If it expires, it's fine. I'll just work on upgrading it when I have time. And the month rolls by, and nothing happens. So the night before last, apparently, when that version expired, the programmer, it runs through the phone. Yeah, it's been perfectly stable running through the phone. There's no trepidation there. It's been perfect running through the phone. That's exactly how it should work. You haven't had multiple years of people telling you, like, why are you carrying a pager? It's like, dude. And then even the Omnipod controller, the modern one, is a phone. It's just a phone. They send you a phone in the mail. So having my phone running all that stuff is perfectly good. And it allows me to be aggressive with the diabetes control. But what happened was, apparently this programmer is so incensed. Maybe they worked on like Microsoft web browsers, but they say that if you don't upgrade your version, you're missing out on features and fixes. But it's like, I've been running the software for 2 years and it's been perfect, and I don't want to change it right away. Well, midnight, 4/29, I discover that in order to get people to move to the new version, this psychopathic, just asshole of a dev turns off the looping function. So if you go hypoglycemic, it'll stop delivering insulin still, right? But what it doesn't do is if you go hyperglycemic, it won't give you little bits of insulin to help bring you back down. It'll instead ask you whether or not you want to change your management method. But it does this at midnight. So by all means, I should be in bed. I happen to be addicted to Fallout 4 at the moment because I got into the building mechanic. So they decided to turn off a feature that could land me in the hospital very easily. I could have been asleep at midnight, not realized this, have eaten a cheesesteak, and then my insulin pump won't jump in and lower that glucose level, leaving me hyperglycemic for an extended amount of time that could cause DKA. And I have had DKAs before, and they are the most painful thing. They're awful because your blood turns into acid, and then your kidneys start hurting. It's a great time. So this dev decided that it would turn your blood into acid if you didn't update your software. My PC updates at midnight. It's different. Your PC isn't going to kill you. Well, I guess traffic controlling PCs do kill people, and I guess Microsoft had to be explained that these auto updates need to be disabled on infrastructure. Yeah, isn't that great? I love it. What an awesome mentality for a developer to have. There are some diabetics who have gone into the open source code and they've disabled those functions, but you have to go into like Discords in order to figure it out. And my little warning update said version expires on blah 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 date. That's all I got. I didn't get the also it will disable your looper function. I didn't even get that warning because in previous versions it had that warning. This one didn't. So I don't know if somebody like yelled at the dev and the dev went, well, okay, I'll get rid of that warning then. But it still disabled my looping function. And so from 3 o'clock when I discovered it to 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, I was going over the update and trying to get it to work and trying to get Android Studio to work. There's something called a Grable. What the fuck is what's a Grable? It's some Greeble, some kind of girdle kind of fucking thing in Android Studio. Like Android Studio pops up and I look at the beginnings of the instructions and they say, hey, you have to get the latest version of Android Studio in order to run this update. I'm like, okay, cool, let me do this. Luckily, insulin is now cheaper because of this one MF on Twitter. What? We will not wait? No. What's her name? She works at Bethesda. There's a lot of advocates on I've only discovered a couple of them. But anyway, so Betty Grable, yeah, that's what it is. Whatever the fuck Grable, Gobble, Gerber baby. Whatever the hell a Grable is, when you pull up Android Studio, it says, hey, wait, forcing updates that lands you in the hospital is punishment for not updating. Yeah, it could potentially, I should say. And I guess the developer sees it as a convenience. Like, oh, I'm going to inconvenience them by disabling looping because there might be bugs. And it's like, dude, I've been using it for 2 years. Could you just not? Could you just pull up with the warning? That's all I need. Google baby, Google blah, 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 blah. So yeah, anyway, this fucking dev disabled looping, and I discover this at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I open up Android Studio and look at the instructions for updating AAPS. And the instructions start with, you should get the latest version of Android Studio. Okay, cool. Cool, that's easy to do. Open up the program, tell it to update, and then it goes, hey, your gerbobbles could use dervobbling. And I'm like, what's a gerbobble? Like, if I update the Grable, I guess I update the Grable, right? And so, poof, 2 programmers appeared on my shoulders, and one goes, oh, you updated the Grable? How fucking stupid of you, you peasant. And I'm like, huh? And then the other one goes, oh, you always want to update the Grable because that's the latest version, and you always want the latest version. How could you not know that, you fucking idiot? And I'm like, you too? What the fuck? And so I'm like, all right, I'll update the Grable. And apparently that put me on a path that was irreversible and almost nigh unable to be Googled. Apparently updating the Grable is a one-way street, and the only way to undo it is you go into some eclectic settings in order to undo that. But what that did is from then on, when I loaded the code in, when I loaded the new code in from GitHub, it updated part of the code that said, we're using the latest Grable. And then the old code, or sorry, the new code that was supposed to be checked against said, we're using an older Grable. And I'm like, what, huh? It took me all night to not figure that out and go, I'll die. I'm just gonna go to bed. So I go to bed, wake up, next day, all day in order to figure that out. And I finally then got the code to load on when I had to edit it to tell it to use the older Grable. So the older Grable got it to work. Grable? Scrabbles? Sub-Scrabbles. The older one got it to work and compile, and then I got it onto the phone, and then I had to work out a couple other little things until everything worked. But god damn it! Like, I did not want to spend... Yesterday was supposed to be spent uploading videos so that I could keep ahead of my upload schedule. I don't think I'm going to miss a day, but this is going to put a lot of pressure on me. But it's like, what dev has that brilliant idea? Who pats themselves on the back after coming up with that? Like, yeah, I figured it out. I figured it... I'm going to burp. Burping myself like a baby. What dev goes, yeah, I did it. I did it. This is great. This is great. Like, I can keep everybody up on the latest version of the software. Father burped himself. I can keep everybody on the latest version of the software because I can just disable this. This feature will just inconvenience them, right? It's going to put somebody in a hospital if you're working on healthcare stuff. This guy from Twitch chat has said something about Visual Studio Code. Relatable, but the Visual Studio Code almost crashes when I open it. Jeez. I mean, the Android Studio, like, how complicated are phones these days? How much code do they need to run? How much spaghetti code? How many libraries do we need to import in order to get our code functioning properly? It's out of hand. It's out of control. I'm an embedded systems developer. We keep things light. Much of the detriment to our progress, but we keep things light. Okay, this thing looks pretty saturated, huh? These things are actually catching up with the temperature of the heatsink. Yeah, too much code. But listen, I will knock this developer endlessly. I will endlessly harangue them for this specific thing. Everything else that this software does is brilliant. It closes the loop. It allows me to get aggressive with my control, and it allows me to minimize, completely minimize, even to the detriment of my own health, minimize the alerts that I get. Because I've had a thing, I've had an ear, like a mental thing, right? I've had the little Tismo twing of things that beep set me on the warpath. Because for my entire life, well, okay, since I was 9 years old, which is a lot of your entire lives, anything that beeps has been a dire warning for me to catch up with. Beep, beep, beep. Oh my God, something's out of insulin. I'm going to die. Everything that beeps has been a complete and utter dire warning. So having the ability to disable the beeps that don't matter is very important to me. This insulin pump you mentioned, I think you can build and program a better one than this one. Go for it. I don't know if you know quite what this thing does, though. There's a lot of pretty advanced stuff that's like kind of new to diabetes in this. Yeah. There's like management things. He releases APKs that can deliberately injure you. That's the problem. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of a bit, that's not like a gripe. That's actually that's a disaster. Heg Pets, thank you for subbing for 23 months. Thank you, Heg Pets. Teachers often have this beep sound when they're insulin pump. Yep, that's, you know, most insulin pump software will do that. And sometimes they'll beep you to tell you that daylight savings is coming up. And it's like, I don't need this, man. Sounds like the code needs a new maintainer. There are people who've taken over the code. I'm here for a minute, and I finally hear somebody also experiencing the beep horror. I mean, yeah, this has been a thing with me for quite a long time. And, oh, thank you for the first time chat. That looks like a Djibouti emote, but it's Chain Brain. That's cool. Nice. Yeah, it's the beep anxiety, and I never thought it was like a real thing. I thought it was just me being kind of cute, because bitch, I'm always cute. But, yeah, I thought it was just me being cute. But it's like a thing. And there's also warning fatigue, which is something I experienced during a DKA at the hospital, where the entire hospital has this bloop sound every 7 minutes. No, I think it was 7 minutes. The whole thing goes blue-doop, and it's like this dual tone thing, right? Blue-doop, and it's meant to be like a sour tone so that you pay attention to it. But nobody seemed to acknowledge it. I thought I was going insane. I'm like, hey, do I need to be in the psych ward? Like, what's going on? What is this? They're like, oh, that just means everything's okay. I'm like, there's a motherfucking warning noise to tell you that everything is all right? Oh, yeah, we just tune it out. And I'm like, the whole purpose of making it a sour tone was so that people would pay attention to it. And everybody ignored it. All the nurses, all the staff. And it's an everything is okay alarm. What the fuck? I thought I was going nuts. I spent like 2 days in the hospital. 3. Is Burn the Subs catching or what? From when does it start burning? I don't know what the question is. Jacose with a prime for 52 months. 52 months and I'm still waiting to be burned on the board. You shut the fuck up. You guys aren't allowed to get in my brain space on that one. I'll fuck you up. I'll grief you in Minecraft. I have all my ranges set to really tight, so it's kind of my own fault. Yeah, I'm still on 80 to 180. Well, 80 to 200. 80 to 200. That's millimole per deciliter of blood. 80 to 180 is the range that I should be in. I do 80 to 200. Some people don't. They only have a low alarm. But I have that range. But the thing is, I don't alert anymore. I don't alert to that. My program here has... Here, we'll turn on the fan in just a second. My program... Hold on, I'm just not dox anybody for calling me. temp basal status not. I don't know what's going on with that. Mute. Okay. So what's happening on this thing is it's delivering me little tiny bits of insulin in order to deal with the wah-wah hoogie that I had. And there's no alerts because I've gone hyperglycemic, but what would happen with my old pump is it would warn me when I go over the line, and it would warn me, and then I would immediately dip back below the line. And then I undid the warning, and then it would go back up again, and it would warn me again. And it's supposed to have a timer where it doesn't warn you, because there's nothing I can do. I can give insulin right here, which is what I did before this spike, but insulin, at least my insulin, reacts so slowly, the stuff that I can get through the public healthcare program, reacts so slowly that there's nothing I can do for like 2 hours. So check back in 2 hours and we'll see what's changed. Instead, what this does is the insulin is more effective if it's given in half unit increments over time, and that can bump you back down and gives this thing a whole lot of control of what's happening. So since I woke up and had a couple cups of coffee without sugar, I just put creamer in it, it's dealt with my glucose level and it's pulled it back down faster than yours actually operates. So it does that there, and then it coasted until I had lunch, which was a big carb bomb, and the big carb bomb hit, and I gave a lot of insulin for it. So while that insulin was reacting, I don't know, my charts haven't recovered from the upgrade yet. I need to put my other chart in here and then have it display the insulin on board, because you can actually see the insulin on board tapering off, and the software's handling all of that diabetes math for me. So my glucose level is 183. It's coming down slowly. By the way, you guys can access this. This is public information. I have a website. It's cgmdatabot.herokuapp.net. So you're not allowed to tell me what I need to fucking do. I'm doing just fine. Unless you're diabetic and you've seen AAPS before, or how your body reacts to glucose, this is better than what you can do, because I have a little robot that's doing all of my insulin for me instead of an organ. Welcome to healthcare. I just don't understand why a whole medical facility could ignore a giant dystopian sort of blooping noise. All right, let's get the fan going and see if that cools it off any more than we can see right now. It's not going to be drastic and amazing, but it might be something that's worth noting. All right, so the fan's on. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, like cruise control. Well, so the body works under different like mechanisms. So I don't know exactly how the islets of Larange and the beta cells within them respond to sugar in the blood. But apparently, because I'm diabetic, I can actually give insulin ahead of time, because those are always reactionary in a normal body. So giving insulin ahead of time apparently puts me in a good situation to deal with those carbohydrates quickly. Just like athletes using insulin to juice up after a meal. We're not going to see anything for a little bit here. I'm just hoping that I can take temperatures down appropriately. The only other thing to add to this equation would be the power supply, which is going to create quite a bit of heat. But these Vicor power supplies are another thing that's designed to run just in ambient air. So overall, I think we are going to have a pretty good cooling effect on this whole system. But again, we are just fooling around with this stuff because I am completely burnt out. My whole brain is broken because I was up till 6 a.m. and then I spent the entire following day trying to figure out how to get my pancreas working again. And I'm still not done. What LED drivers? What are you talking about? How does it feel to be a cyborg? It's fucking awful. I don't do anything with high voltage or big magnetics because of that. Like, I used to have a bunch of capacitors, and we've done a little bit with a Tesla coil before, and it took out my LED lights. So, like, I'm not doing anything with high voltage because it could fucking destroy my pancreas, my external pancreas. Oh yeah, the driver board for the laser. I don't know. I'm debating. It's not even hot to the touch. No, there's no point. We've been running this thing for like an hour now, and nothing bad has happened, so... And there's no leaks coming down here? Nah. the other thing that we want to do, the other thing I want to do today is figure out what the pinout is going to be on the Raspberry Pi, but I might opt not to do that. I don't know where you are, what you can get, but I switched to Lumajev U200 and I love it. I would love to. I'm on like a public health program because I don't make any money. My stream is wildly unpopular in terms of making like a normal person's money. And so my diabetes is subsidized by the state and they only have certain stuff in their formulary. Now my endocrinologist is cool as hell and he will approve of whatever I want to have approved probably. And, you know, go through the process of getting pre-approval of it. No, well, fine. You didn't have to do that very much. I mean, you kind of did have to do that, right? No, you didn't have to do that. Thank you very much. I appreciate the sub very, very much. My endo is really cool, and he would probably approve of this stuff. I think Lumajev is only available in pens or something like that. I would love to get on it, but yeah, it's probably the only thing that could actually lower my A1C. My A1C is in the low 7 range. Are those bubbles? No, those are just the shells of where former bubbles were. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely cooling the laser all right, because you can see this heat spreading to everything. I would like to go to Lumajev because the Omnipods are difficult to work with, and I would rather them last longer with U200, but yeah. And the cool thing about the Android Auto Pancreas system is that I can switch insulins by just telling it what insulin I'm on. And I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. I've got the new profile in mind, and I'm using it versus all of the data that I've gathered for you previously. And it'll just do it. I think Cluck J, somebody in chat, has offered to send me some of his Lumajev, but I'm good. I'm going to stick to Novolog, I guess. I would love to switch, but it's just one of those things. The U100 comes in 10 milliliter flasks. I would love to switch to U200 because I go through a lot of insulin. I'm not a thin person. I should be a thin person. I should stop eating, but I don't know. Who knows? My hormones are a little fucked up as a diabetic. Who knew that? As a 29-year no, wait a minute. 31-year diabetic. I've had diabetes for 31 years. Yeah. 31-year diabetic. My hormones could be a little messed up, seeing as I've gotten external insulin for 31 years. People are like, why don't you just not eat? It's just calorie in, calorie out. 28. Hell yeah, brother. Damn. It's not really showing any cooling. Like, if we really wanted to put numbers to it, I guess that probably could improve things a little bit. But, yeah. What's the pin out of a Raspberry Pi? Does this contraption have a galvo motor in it? No, I've got galvo motors in the closet, actually. I would like to use them at some point, but we're not going to do galvo motors with this laser. This laser is going to be controlled on an XY axis because it's much more theatrical. A galvo motor, for those that don't know it, just like with a stepper motor, if you arrange the magnets in a particular way, you can have a stepper motor go in very discrete little steps. What a galvo motor does is it moves a motor shaft like this, and it moves it like this very precisely, so that you can give it coordinates and it'll move like that, and if you give it an XY, you can control your laser on a board and move it around wherever you want it to be. So you have the ability to turn on and off your laser at a moment's notice in a millisecond time scale, and you have the ability to move in X and Y on a millisecond time scale, and you combine all that with the laser turning on and shutting off, and you can very precisely control what kind of image is projected, and so you can rasterize stuff. You can scan across, and as you scan across, you can activate and deactivate the laser appropriately, or you could just trace it in sort of an analog path given vectorization, and it'll actually burn the image in very, very accurately. While I do have galvo motors from the 1980s, I think they're good ones, but I don't really have the ability to control them. I don't know how to do that. This is not going to control galvo motors because it's more theatrical to use stepper motors to move your X and Y axis in long sweeping paths in order to spell out the different names. And if you want an example of that, you simply need to go to my VOD channel. Oh, bother VOD. Here, let's exclamation point VOD. You go to that channel and you need to go all the way back to the first couple videos that I posted. Or maybe a little bit after that, maybe the like 10 videos in, you'll have a really good example of names burning up on the board in that manner. It's slow, it's ponderous, it takes some time, but it's fun to have people sub to the channel and see their names spelled out very explicitly on the board. Now, if I do a Galvo motor X and Y, what I could do, and this is something that I've considered before, is instead of having the name come up permanently, the permanence is actually very important. The permanence is very important. But if I wanted to, I could take a big portion of the wall and I could paint it with glow-in-the-dark paint. And I actually have some powdered glow-in-the-dark stuff. But if I paint a wall with glow-in-the-dark paint and I use the blue laser with the UV component, I could use the Galvo motors in order to saturate the username and have it on a glow-in-the-dark portion, and it'll eventually fade out. I was considering doing that because it's much more sustainable than burning something permanently to a board, you know? But burning it permanently to the board when the name is like Buttface42 is perfect. I love that. So one of my Cub Scouts has to wear an external pump. When he wanted to play a game with the others, his mom would check his levels. Yeah, I would unplug the pump. Oh, geez. Yeah, all this stuff has a monitoring component to it, which is really good for people with kids. Having the stuff on the phone means the phone can just upload it to like a cloud service, which is what the Heroku app is. And it's the reason I can do this. There's my blood glucose level. That's real time. That is right now. It looks like it is getting the microbolus information. It's not displaying it the way I'd want it to, but it looks like Night Scout is getting it, but it's still not displaying all the stuff that I wanted it to display. I don't know what's going on with that. There's still something hinky from the update. It's still not quite right. But that's CGM databot.herokuapp.com. And I didn't know, I would have put like a Jesse component in there, like my last name or something on there, because I didn't know I was making this for specifically my levels. I was supposed to give it a name, and I just thought it was not a public-facing thing. But apparently it is. Yeah, Buttface42, wonderful guy. Does he stream? Pre-diabetic, then I realized I just need to exercise more. I've been getting plenty of exercise with the dog. But yeah, so this is gonna be the laser component of this thing. Adding the power supply component as well as the Raspberry Pi and the motor controller is gonna be quite a thing. And in the meantime, I have to figure out how to get all this stuff up on Node-RED. Node-RED. I'm not really seeing a whole big difference in the temperature here. I mean, this thing is it's accelerating the air to the point where it's not showing any heat. The body of the fan's keeping cool. The motor on the fan, of course, is warm. But the radiator isn't cooling down at all. We've reached kind of an equilibrium temperature. Visually, for the thermals to actually show anything, there would need to be a big swing in temperature. The laser body itself is cool. There's no heat to it at all. I don't want to burn myself on this beam. I already did once today. If I get like a piece of paper, where's a piece of paper? This thing is like crazy powerful. I have not dealt with like the strength of laser that Uo's lab does. He was dealing with, I think, 6 watts. This is 4. This is only 4 watts. This is gonna smell. I don't want to do too much of this, but 7.5. Yeah, I don't. So there's that guy that plays with blue lasers in his garage, and like, I fear for his camera's life because it's all saturated and stuff. Uh-oh, I don't want to burn my desk. Nope. Jeez, I got spots on that thing from burning. But yeah, this one is 2, or no, 4. Wait, no, which one is this one? I think this might be a full 2 watts. You can't get them in under like 2 and 4 watts. And I don't need nearly that much to just make marks and stuff. Listen, the way that my shop works is that I am burning this stuff by looking up at the screen. That's what the thing is, like, I'm up here. I'm up here. I'm not down there looking at that stuff. And then when this is running back here, when that's running, I'm looking over here still. So I am completely not... If Julian and Dave were here doing synthesizer stuff on that table, I'd probably want to disable burn the subs because I don't want them to be exposed to this stuff. Because, yeah, there's quite a bit of UV running around in here. But again, I make it look like I'm totally cavalier. You know, what's that like? What's that like, looking totally cavalier around really dangerous stuff? Yeah, I keep it under wraps. Now, there is a bit of reflected ultraviolet, but it's about as much as I'd get if I were outside. So, whew, stinky. Uh-oh, stinky. I mean, that's just paper, but it adds some spice. No, the most spice that I've had was the little chat-controlled tank that was trying to stab me with an X-Acto knife. I think that was the most tense moment we've had here. I'm wondering where my sacrificial block of wood went. I have a sacrificial block of wood. Where did it go? I mean, I've got a couple, but I don't remember that. It was a long time ago. Rob Oz raided, and so I taped a... this is back when Twitch had multiple rooms, so we could put all that spam in one specific place. Oh, here, this is the Ertlurker block. The famous Ertlurker block. So we had a separate room for all the commands for the tank, and Rabaz raided, and so he brought a bunch of his crazy fans in, and those crazy people all wanted to stab me more than anything else. So they were out for blood. This is the Ertlurker block. This is part of our laser tests against maple boards. So I had, actually, this one's pine. Yeah, it's very light. This is a pine board that I used to test the laser back in the day. So this is testicles or something like that. And then on the other side, I have names of random people in chat. This is back when I had very few people in chat. And then the board went live and I got popular. Ish. That's a familiar smell. That's what I just did. Okay, that's too much smoke in here. Whew. Lab 424 got good mileage out of them. Yeah, having the interactive stuff in a separate room was pretty crazy. The Ertlurker, there's Ertlurker on the chat. I've used this in quite a few little scenarios where testing is necessary, but yeah, this is, I mean, even going quickly like that, this thing can decimate the wood. Well, here's the thing. So in the past, I've had fume extractors, right? The fume extractor ends up getting clogged with what's called creosote. It's like Mr. Creosote from Meaning of Life. Meaning of Life! That's where that liver extraction thing was from. That was the Python movie that I was thinking of. Anyway, for Meaning of Life, you got Mr. Creosote. Creosote is the sticky stuff that ends up populating that smoke. That's what you're burning, wood fiber and material and stuff like that, and there's like a sappy, sticky component to that. Creosote. Creosote clogs out systems that are designed to extract fumes. I should know. I've had more than a couple get completely and utterly clogged with creosote. And so I don't run a fume extractor. What happens is if I aim the beam correctly, it will be able to burn the wood without releasing a ton of smoke. It'll be about as much smoke as if I lit a match. So it's not totally detrimental to me. Also, I run fans in the shop. You can see how quickly the smoke like moves and disperses. I've always got airflow, otherwise I'm sweating, but you can see that gets carried away pretty quickly. How warm is this thing? It's not cold is the only thing that I can say about it. Now, in terms of what the fan's doing, I guess it is working. You can see that this is not glowing as much as it was before. So the fan has been doing something. Yeah, the big thing about like synthesizer equipment is you always have people listing stuff based on whether or not they've smoked in their studio before. Smoke-free studio. It's so that you don't get all that stuff getting into your electronics, especially things with fans where they just have a fan that's sucking air out of the whole thing. You can get that smoke getting in and actually getting onto all your electronics. Like I said, I direct air in a different way in the shop, and it doesn't get that bad. I'm not steeping in smoke. But we'll have to implement all this stuff and get all this running and see what's going on. I need to be able to aim that laser just right. Tobacco tar coats everything. That's like people cleaning up places from like the 1970s where they're like, I thought the walls were brown. They're not. They just allowed smoking in here. All right, chat. I think I'm going to wrap up early today just because we did our test. We did the fan test with the new radiator to determine whether or not this thing was of a size that would support all of our stuff. In addition to that, we're testing this under heat to make sure that when this thing gets warm, it doesn't crack and spill everywhere. In addition to that, we performed a test where I sat on this thing intentionally, completely intentionally. It was intentional. I totally intentionally sat on this thing for months and didn't do anything with it intentionally. And I didn't do anything with it intentionally in order to make sure that when we intentionally brought this up again, that it would actually be able to not leak all over the place. My fear was that I'd put this up on my wall and it would, I'd spool this thing up and be like, yeah, burn this up. I put all this work into it, ready to go. And I'd flip all this stuff on. This power supply would make too much heat. The motor thing would start chugging away. The radiator would be doing its best, but the laser would get hot and then it would create a crack and then water would spill on my floor. So it seems like this thing is pretty dry. It's pretty dry. And I don't have much else to do today. Instead of sitting here and doing wiring with y'all, I don't think that would be a great idea. So I'm gonna have my Nuka-Cola, my jizz soda, the skimmest of skim milk. Very skim milky over here. Hey, let's do this so I don't dox my area. Is this burning the plastic? Am I smelling I'm smelling plastic. Why am I smelling plastic? Here, get closer to the laser. That way you don't burn the plastic. So if you want spots in your eyes, this is how you do it. I'm gonna put on laser goggles. One second here. Let's just go ahead and let's go ahead and do that. So the important thing when you put on laser goggles is to make sure that the photons don't know who you are. So you put on so now they have no idea who I am and they can't hurt my eyes any. I'm gonna actually really put on laser goggles because this fucking hurts. Woo! Okay. Oh, that's better. That doesn't look like anything. This is a better look for me overall anyway. This is what it looks like. It looks like nothing, which means the goggles are doing everything for me. Yeah, welcome to my Nuka-Cola. Can we heat up this water using a laser? That sounds like an UO's lab title. Can we heat this up using a laser? The answer may shock you in like an hour. That volume of milky solution is probably not going to take up all that much heat very quickly. God, this makes it hard to read your comments. I need light mode. A cross-flow fan to keep the wood smoke off of the laser diode. Yeah, that's what, I run a floor fan. I run a floor fan in here at all times, right? I always have air on me and I'm always blowing air around. So that has been something that has made, guys, I love your advice. Without your advice, I would have no idea how to build a water-cooled computer or make 2 widely successful laser boards that have text all over them. Thank you. I know. That's the point, is that I know. I know these things. I know. The big floor fan is enough that the air wafts away, and every now and then it will catch the laser, and it's cool because you can see the beam. That's the cool part. If I move this too far away, it's going to burn the plastic, isn't it? Oh, look at this EKWB shit. It's all pool. Oh, you guys can't see that at all. Hold on. With all the light here, you guys can't see that there's shit at the bottom of the glass. There's like a sedimentary thing. I guess they got it to be matte white by screwing around with it. Yeah, I wanted to do the payphone for when we do gaming, because when we do game streams, a fun bit would be to grab the phone, say something, and have it sound like a distorted phone, and then be able to slam it back down on the receiver. The problem is a payphone is a type of safe, so I need to figure out how to get the fuck in there. I've looked up like how to get into a payphone, and it requires things that I don't need. No bother. Clipped by mesh twitch. Nice. Good stuff in here, you know? It's totally not me. You guys have no idea. Yeah, all right. So I'm out of content for the day. That's pretty much what happens when we do these specific things. But now that I've gotten Burn the Subs out and we've worked on it a little bit, it's overall water cooling stuff is in its final form. And so I'll be able to do a little bit more wiring. I want to figure out what I'm doing with wiring. Until then, boy, for the effect, I would really love to like point the laser at my face, but I don't want to burn my face. These lasers are stupid powerful. Move to Germany so they can have a local CCC chapter nearby. These guys easily and gladly crack a phone booth. We may have to figure that out at some point. I might have to get like a universal key or something. Like, I don't think I can do that with screwdrivers and basic lock picks because it's a little bit more extensive than that. They didn't want to have the average lock picker able to extract, you know, the coin purse of the payphone very easily. And this is a Verizon payphone too. So cracking a Verizon payphone is something that maybe we can do at some other time, some later time. I should have done this earlier so that I could pull in on Fallout hype. If I get like a soda bottle, I don't think I have a rocket-shaped soda bottle. I have that Crystal Pepsi. No, I'm not going to do anything with that. That one sits. That one's from 1993, 2. Is it the year I got diabetes? Holy shit. Anyway, so I'm out of content here. I'm gonna get a headache if I continue to view this laser without goggles on. I've got the goggles on now, but it's still kind of like it's gonna get to me, especially going into this thing, which is distributing all of that ultraviolet light all over the place. I'm gonna get a suntan from it. But we'll be back on Thursday, and then I can either figure out wiring for BTS or we can try to finish up some synthesizer stuff. I want to get the digital component of the Hachiwo circuit built. We can try to put that on the same breadboard as the analog component of it, right? So if we get all that stuff together, we can actually see the Hachiwo oscilloscope working all in one thing. And I want to do that because I think that'll be a lot of fun. We'll be able to get that done pretty quickly. I'll just breadboard it, and then I'll start building it on my own. In the meantime, I'm going to look up what the pinout should be for the VFD. The controller is going to be USB. That'll be pretty hard to plug in. I might have to make my own cable for that. And then, well, actually, I think I can get in there with a TXRX. Just found a site that sells payphone keys. Do we want to buy our way out of that, or do I want to actually figure it out? Because I mean, we can figure stuff out. We're not dumb, right? We got one of those smart boy Twitch shows here, right? Yeah. People are tuning in like, why is he a biker today? What's going on? Because I don't want to ruin my eyes with this. No, with this. Lockpicking is incredibly fun. I have dabbled. I'm only able to get into the most rudimentary desk drawer locks. Man, I really wish, you know, one of these days we'll go late enough that I can raid Uo's lab, because I think that would be a righteous raid. He does a fun stream. But I don't stream when I don't have content, and this test is what I wanted to perform today. Getting into the wiring is a bunch of crimping and a bunch of researching, so I don't really want to show that. Legal lockpicking. Oh, yeah, definitely. I haven't broken into my high school with a credit card before, or my dorm room in the middle of the night with a paper plate that was thrown away. That one was fun because I think some people witnessed me do that. I basically went to the bathroom, and then the door closed behind me, and I said, I don't have my lanyard with me. So I went to the bathroom, and from some party, there was a paper plate in the trash can. I grabbed it, folded it into quarters, stuck it in the door, pulled the door, opened the door, went back to bed. I woke up like, wait, did I break in last night? I think I did. Just buy the pick that Bosnian Bill and lockpicking lawyer made. What does that look like? That thing? Oh God, there's so much UV light. Or this thing. Maybe I should actually do a real search term. Woo. I can't see all the details of these things on. Ow. Neat. Get me on the board. It's not quite, it's just, we made Nuka-Cola today, all right? If I'm honest, we just made Nuka-Cola. It's an older formula of Nuka-Cola, but it, you know. It's a wafer pick. He's wafer thin. Well, that thing looks neat, but I don't know if we're gonna get that. Oh dear God! And then there's just a swastika down on the results. It's some kind of a lock thing that is in the shape of a Jesus Christ. Where did that come from? Well, I'm glad I didn't scroll down to it. It's literally just below all those results. It's really weird. Products. All right, hold on, Brink. Oh, Chester Willard, get me on that board. That was a sub message with 45 months. Hey, thank you so much. We don't actually blank out URLs, just as long as they're relevant. It's sort of like an agreement thing. Page not found. What did I do? I'm wearing these glasses. I can't see much. Oh, I put the K on the block pick. I have one of those. That's not the type of lock that the payphone is. Payphone's a different type of lock. But I do have a version of that type of lockpick. I don't remember where it is. Actually, wait. It's right here. I do know where it is. Mine's better. Yeah, just a little fingery thing that gets into those barrel locks. Why don't you have a gluing drink? And it's got a little like spring thing. Does it lock down here? No, it doesn't. Yeah, within arm's reach, right? You know why? It's because everybody is into Fallout right now because they actually made a decent series, and I think it blindsided Bethesda. So everybody's playing the old games as God intended. Nobody's really I don't know if a lot of people are playing Fallout 1 and 2. Fallout 2 was my jam. Fallout 2 was my jam. That was my absolute jam. Put so many after-school hours into Fallout 2. But 3 was okay. New Vegas, I didn't get the hype. I didn't know about the hype at first. I played a lot of it, but I didn't know it was so hyped out. 4, I know there was a lot of hype, and I kind of got into the building mechanic and then didn't really understand much, but it's been 10 years. 10. Fallout 2's been making a big comeback. Good. I never did tactics. I heard it sucked, but I like my tactical Fallout, and the 3D games weren't doing that so much. What they were doing well is just sort of fleshing out the world and adding new stuff and making everything really nice. 3 I really enjoyed because I lived at DC at the time, and I actually found out where my Arlington apartment was, and it was just a little bit of rubble. But I got to the right place. It was right where it should be. But since the map was so condensed, my entire neighborhood was like a block. So the paracentric keyway tension tool. What the hell? I need to do a little research on that payphone. I'm starting to feel like I'm getting a suntan. Is this just psychosomatic, or am I... Oh my God. No, I'm actually getting quite a bit of light on my body. Welcome to the nuclear zone where the glow gets us all. I can actually kind of feel that a little bit. I just have this because I'm desperately clinging to Fallout and getting all that popularity. Let's stop this before it gets gross. So let me power it down, and you can see how embarrassing the solution that's making this cool glow is. It was jizz. It was jizz the whole time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you thought it was anything else, but that's what it is. I'm gonna have arc burns. I know. Back when I had a welder, I almost got arc burns too. Check out, it's the tiniest bit warm. It's not. No, I did check. There's nothing. I can sense no warmth at all from that. It feels like a cold piece of plastic that I picked up off the floor. Although the rest of the shop is a little bit warmer. It's actually 73. When did it become 73 in here? This thing is dissipating heat better than I could have ever imagined. Better than I ever could have imagined. Next week, Obother will be back. But for now, you know, you guys got to tolerate my stream. So. Is there a chance to make a Nuka-Cola bottle that'll actually glow and jump on the recent Fallout hype? I have, oh, I don't have ultraviolet LEDs, because ultraviolet would be the best way to do it. Blue, of course, it'll look just like the right thing. And then if you use the EKWB, like jizz, I guess I would call that. I need to throw out that solution. I don't have a rocket-shaped bottle. Bethesda has had bad luck making a Bethesda has had bad luck making a rocket-shaped bottle. They made it in 2 halves of a clamshell for their rum. They made like a spiced rum, and you know, everybody went out. No, nobody went out and bought it. But the people that did discovered that it was just a clamshell, and then it got in the way of pouring. Utter crap. Yeah, like the canvas bag. I guess you, wait a minute. You can go on Etsy, can't you? Wait, hold on. Nuka-Cola. Nuka-Cola quantum bottle. See, everybody's already done everything already. That one's blue plastic, though. I guess I could 3D print one out of the clear filament, but it wouldn't look right. People have more experience making glass stuff at lower scale. See, like, that with the milky solution in it could probably work with some kind of high-powered LED hidden somewhere. You got a little bit of room in the base there. You could probably put it in the base. Just have it hug that base. Well, yeah, if I do that, but the problem is the last time we 3D printed something with 100% infill, it leaked. It leaked between the layers. This would probably hold on to liquid just fine and not have it leak out, but there would be big gaps so that if there's any pressure difference, it will leak. Now, the solution, of course, is what we did, which is putting ultraviolet epoxy on the layers there and then filling it with ultraviolet epoxy and swishing it around a little bit. But if, you know, somebody with glass blowing experience, this thing looks a little plastic. I don't know if it's glass or not. I haven't read the description, but what you could do is 3D print just a little coaster that goes along the bottom here, and somehow you could make it pretty small. Yeah, an epoxy dip just on the inside was what I did with the laser. That's how we sealed it. And this was the month plus test. So after a month or so, I went in and checked, and we ran this today, and there's no moisture anywhere to be found. So I approve of this now for Burn the Subs. The way the one YouTuber that I didn't know about until somebody linked in my chat, they linked. Oh, that thing looks awesome. Wait a sec. I need this. I need it. I need this. Just a jerry can that has a bar in it. But anyway, so the one YouTuber who did actually seal something on the end with PETG prints, he basically said he turned the flow rate so far up that it was just a big blob, but he got it to seal with like pressure. So that would be interesting. I was concerned that the difference in materials would move around and break and cause cracking, but it appears that everything is sealed very, very well. I still have trepidation, but I think in terms of like content for Twitch, if everything goes south, that's fine. That'll be funny. It's funnier when things fail. I try not to make things fail because you can really tell when you intentionally fail stuff. Like Electro Boom's content, I can't watch. He's great. It's funny. I love it, but I can't watch it because I'm like, you just made it explode. Like, why'd you do that? That's just the weird way I operate. I would like to have more things blow up, so we'll try to get braver in the future. But for now, I'm just stuck here in my world of questionably milky fluids. Ugh. Anyway, we're gonna burn the subs up. We're gonna do more crimping, more wiring. I'm gonna get this thing over to the wall. We'll do some streams where I do stuff against the wall. In the meantime, I have to go put on a bunch of aloe vera so I don't peel after all these sunburns. Now I'm going to take my dog for a walk. Well, I guess we're ending a little bit early today. He does great educational outreach. Oh, listen, if either of us got that budget that those big guys do, you betcha, doing outreach and cool stuff like that. Like even Cyber City Circuits does all of this wonderful like soldering tutorial kinds of stuff. Man, I would love to be in that position. I've been doing this for like, I don't know, nigh on 10 years. It's getting there. It's getting up there in the number of years, but it would be great to actually catch on like everybody's been telling me I would. We're going to build a new board, see if that'll propel us forward a little bit. Maybe I can find more popular people like Uo's Lab, if that guy would actually talk to me. Kind of a big fucking asshole, though. But, you know, if those streamers wouldn't think that I'm just this tiny little thing to squish under the thumb. Have a happy day with Willow. Oh, she was being such a ham this morning. Just on her belly, just like, hey, scratch my belly, buddy. And I'm like, all right, fine. So, yeah, but anyway, I'm going to go touch grass. But we're going to work on this. I really want to work on the ink tank printer and make that into an ink tank UV printer so that I can print labels on stuff, like all the synthesizer stuff that's sitting below there. And hopefully we can get out of some of these more boring projects. But today was kind of a little thing, like a little project just to get back in the swing of things, because I had a terrible yesterday and day before. It was an awful day. And so this has helped to kind of raise my mood a little bit. But anyway, everybody go check out Uo's Lab. I don't think he likes being called that. I think his timeout thing does that, but let me shout him out. How do you spell Uo's Lab? The guy, Uo's Lab. There we go. Oh, that doesn't do anything. Wait, slash shout. Has this guy ever used Twitch before? There it is. Jesus Christ. I'm terrible at this. All right, you guys take care. Let me see if I can find anybody. I don't think anybody's really doing anything too crazy today. Yeah, we got Robot's doing Fallout 4. Oh god, Mato's doing Skyrim as if people are playing just Bethesda games lately. Bruce is on. Oh man, and that's where I run out. We don't have Gonad or anybody else doing anything. So, all right, you guys have a good one, all right? And I will catch you guys on Thursday. Until then, here is the end card with all of my social links, which is just Twitter. It's just Twitter. It's only Twitter. But I'm also on Discord like 24 hours a day, so you guys can catch me there. And we'll be back on Thursday. We're going to be working on ? Probably something a little bit more visceral, like breadboarding again, and getting the scope wibbling around with funny audio bits. Have a good one.